Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Good afternoon with all of you. No, not morning, it's afternoon. I've got the sunshades, and it's a special afternoon installment of 757 Sports Talk, powered by Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe, and interact with us all afternoon long. It's something new. We've done the Hatfield Young Manning style cast before. We've done the show in the morning. We've done the show at night. I don't think we've ever done a show in the afternoon while college football's happening, while Syracuse and Georgia Tech are deadlocked at 3 apiece in the second quarter, and while all kinds of games are going on to distract Ed Young from drinking his OJ. I am Matt Hatfield, and the other guy is none other than the one and only Coach Ed Young. Is it good, OJ?
The drinking head coach, Ed Young.
Be careful when you say drinking, because that can have multiple connotations and not always great connotations.
Pure orange juice. Won't say the company because they don't sponsor us. It's good stuff, though. OJ is good any time of the day except night. It's not good to drink orange juice or any acidic type beverage right before you go to bed. You will not sleep well. Thank you. You can thank me later for the health advice. We
encourage you all to interact with us all morning long, or I should say, afternoon long. If you're watching on YouTube, on Cova Sports TV, or on Twitter, X, on Facebook, LinkedIn, Virginia Preps, wherever you're tuning in, Instagram. I already see a commenter up there at can'tguard.ron up there. He wants us to talk about Kellen Bayside. Don't worry, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about everything that's happening in the world of high school football. We've got a special high school football guest joining us at 2 o'clock Eastern, and we encourage you to chat with us all afternoon long. But before we get this show underway, Ed, we have to do something very important. Do you know what that is?
Well, we do something important every minute we're on. So is it extra important?
It's extra important, as Smithfield High has just reposted the stream. That tells you how important it is.
Hey, in the last 15 minutes, I've gotten 7 people saying, "What happened? Did y'all get fired?"
No, we didn't get fired. It's an
afternoon
shift. Some people have morning shifts, night shifts, overnight shifts, afternoon shifts. But when you go to school, when you go to a football game or a basketball game, you have to generally, when you go to school, sometimes it's a Pledge of Allegiance, which I know you know by heart. But you also have our national anthem. And today, and today only, we will salute. Here we go. You ready? Start this 4th episode on October 25th. All right, Ed. 32 years we waited for this. Dodgers, Hatfield, Charger, Hills, and Grand Slam, and that. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God, keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. What are you shaking your head for?
Man, you're about the biggest front runner there is out there in sport
Go
world.
Blue Jays!
It's just only because of your hatred for the Dodgers.
Daggone right! Daggone right! What is wrong with that? Take that, Dodgers. How great was that 6th inning? 9 runs on the board.
One wild inning of you ever will see, the first pinch hit grand slam in World Series history, and it just multiplied right after that. Yeah, I'm rooting for Toronto too, but I'm not singing no Canadian national anthem. I'm an American, and that's what I am, and that's what I'll stay to be.
I will wear this the entire World Series.
Yeah,
I won't take it off. I won't even bathe. I'll leave it on my head when I go to sleep at night.
Yeah, right. You, Chauncey Billups, Jamin Jones, all those dudes.
Whoa.
Y'all can be bought. Not me, baby. I'm American all the way. Give me the national anthem every single time. But I want Toronto to beat the Dodgers. I was hoping 4 straight. Get the baseball out of the way because it's hoop season coming up. It's the heart of football season. And baseball without the Yankees is not real baseball. So get it out of the way and let's get moving.
I see Coach KH52 up here says on Instagram, behold. Hit the chat line, Coach. But we'll also have a rant coming later in the show. It's one that Coach Young is waiting for that a college basketball coach has. So we're going to wind that up for the what was it? It used to be the 5-minute burning topic we did in the summertime. It'll maybe be the 10-minute burning topic because there's no way you and that particular coach can fit in all of your grievances in 5 minutes. We have to expand it out to 10 minutes for this special episode of 757 Sports Talk. So how's your Saturday going that you don't have to do them in the morning? You have to do them in the afternoon now.
Slept in. First time I got to sleep in on any particular day in a while.
Good for you. I didn't get that luxury, but go ahead. Continue.
Well, you picked that. So you can't complain now.
Don't go into what?
And for those who don't know.
No. Don't you dare.
It's the real world now.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
He's in the real world now.
Don't you dare.
It's been a different experience of the sensory perception. So he is, he's experienced what the rest of us have. So
I'll mute you.
Bless him. Send him prayers. Send him some gifts because he's always taking freebies too. So let him know, but he's trying to get through this. That's why we're on in the afternoon. It allowed me to get some work around the house done, take the dog for a long walk. It was okay, but I'll be honest, I don't really like these middle of the afternoon shows. So some things are going to have to change.
Okay. Well, you complain about everything, whether it's morning, afternoon, or night. That's just you're a typical whiner and complainer.
If it ain't right, fix it.
Let's now, since we spent enough time on this, let's get into the high school football matters at hand, shall we? And let's start off. Would you want to begin in chronological order because go Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We are on Saturday. Would you like to start with Thursday's games? How would you like to do this, sir? I'll let you get the choice.
I would say let's get Thursday out of the way.
Get it out of the way.
Yeah, because it's yesterday's news.
No, yesterday's news would be Friday since today is Saturday. And once again, you slipped on the banana peel and you tripped, which is nothing.
In today's world with the youngsters, anything that's more than 8 minutes old is old. So
stop hating on the youngsters. You old fuddy-duddies get, your name is young, but you're like an old dinosaur.
Yeah, working with the youngsters as I do, I see a lot of things. I'm very, how can I say, observant. And the youngsters, anything more than 5 minutes, forget it.
All right, enough of your nonsense. 56-6 Phoebus over Heritage. I'll take care of the Thursday scores. It was Lafayette beating York 52-0. Tough one for our pal Blue Smoke over there for the Falcons. They've had some injuries, lack of bodies. They stopped that game at halftime, Edward. So they didn't even finish that game up. And then the game that was really the most interesting that transpired on Thursday in terms of significance, importance, in terms of eyeballs, ramifications for the postseason. It was over at Darling Stadium with the sounds of one Jim Schaffner. Hampton rallies from a 14-point deficit in the first quarter after Warwick hits the end zone a couple of times with Avion Tucker to complement Terrius Downtown Brown. And the Crabbers win it 21-14. Go-ahead score with about 5 minutes and change from Casey Lassiter, the young senior who was honored at last week's Great American Rivalry Series running clock victory over Phoebus. And yes, the Hampton Crabbers now move the record to 7-1, and they are alone atop the Peninsula District. Hey, Woody Wagner tuning in, or Woodrow Wagner with the T now, this afternoon show. We thank him for hopping in and interacting with us, along with the Smithfield High and Roderick Curry, Kent Ron, VJ out there, Coach KH, and others. I always encourage you to interact with us. But Ed, Hampton wins it, and we've got some sound from that win, which we'll get to with a couple of standout players. But your first reaction to that score, you took Hampton, as did I.
Now, you said 41. I thought it was 21.
I said 21. I meant 21. So if I misspoke saying 41, it was 21.
Yeah, I didn't see Hampton scoring 41 on Warwick.
No, 21-14 was the final. I thought I said 21, but if I misspoke and said 41, I meant 21. Yes, that was the final.
21-14, pretty much kind of a score I would think it might be. I don't know my actual prediction. I did know I picked Hampton.
You didn't pop on the Hampton Media Network on YouTube and watch the game? You didn't pop on the NFHS network?
No, I have too many other duties that I have to get done.
You don't have other duties. What are you doing on a Thursday night that's so important? Be honest.
Thursday night was what was?
Oh, I know what you. I'm sorry. I know. You were watching Law and Order SVU. I'll give you a pass. It's okay.
I haven't seen that yet. I'm gonna have some people tell me it's a good show. I got to watch it.
You've never watched Law and Order SVU?
I've not seen any of the Law and Order series at all.
I think you haven't lived.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try to catch one of those. I think Thursday night, it was either Wednesday or Thursday night, we had a late workout conditioning for Smithfield High School because of not able to get one of the gyms. So I think it was Thursday night. We got a late workout in, so it was a good one too. So, but anyways, as far as the game goes, Hampton, as we say about Butter, they're definitely on a roll. To me, it's a feel of the bygone days when they were a power, and it was just a matter of what was going to be the final score. I have that kind of feeling that's where they're at now. They've beaten some heavyweights, and they're absolutely peaking at the right time. So, and Warwick ain't out of the picture either. I mean, they're still a good ball club, one of the best defending teams around. So they're going to win their share too.
Well, a quick stat I'll give you before we get to the sound from that game with a couple of the participants. Gene Jones Jr., defensive lineman for the Crabbers, who is a junior, who was one of 3 recent UVA commits in the past week. The others being Lonnie Andrews III, the Oscar Smith All-State quarterback, who was involved in Friday night's action, which we'll get to, as well as Derek Fisher, no, not the former NBA player and coach, but Derek Fisher from Bethel High School, who's also a junior, like Andrews and Jones. Versatile quarterback, wide receiver, is going to be playing free safety for the Cavaliers in Charlottesville, it looks like. But Gene Jones, we caught up with him, as well as the quarterback for the Crabbers and one Marcus Chapman, to get their thoughts after that win. Which would you like to hear first, the quarterback or the D lineman?
D lineman. We hardly get a chance to shine the D lineman. Let's do D lineman.
Well, and I should also say this. He's not just a D lineman. He's also playing offensive tackle, protecting that blind side for one Mr. Chapman. So here's our conversation with Big 73 for the Crabbers. Gene Jones Jr. on 757 Saturday afternoon sports talk on Cova Sports TV.
I'm here with Hampton class of 2027 two-way lineman Gene Jones Jr. is playing left tackle and D tackle all over the place for the Hampton Crabbers. They win tonight 21-14 over the Warwick Raiders. All right, Gene, this is a game one in the trenches. You know what Warwick's done the last couple of years to you guys with Christian Corbin is going to Delaware, Dwayne Skip with the net crew up front. What did it take to come out here for 48 minutes and prevail over these guys?
We just go 100% every day. You know what I'm saying? We came a long way. Haven't beat them since I started playing football here at Hampton. So, it's a great feeling,
You know the history of Hampton football, the championships, and Mike Smith, the legend on the sidelines tonight. All excited for you guys. What's this mean here to beat Phoebus last week and not have a hangover effect? I'm sure the coaches talked about that all week of let's not have a letdown, right?
That's right. We just had to come back and do it the same thing we did last week, this week, you know what I'm saying? Come back now, tomorrow, get back in the lab, get ready for next week.
There was a lot of woofing in pregame, which is natural when you have a big game, whether it's Hampton Phoebus or Hampton Warwick. You all were relatively quiet, though. Did you all kind of take that little personal coming in? What was sort of the mindset in the locker room? Did you all say much? What was kind of the vibe, if you will, or mood?
That's how we lock in now. You know what I'm saying? Sure. Got to keep it solid, you know what I'm saying? Show up with our pads. Don't do all the talking.
You made a commitment, we'll talk about in a moment, to UVA this past weekend, but when somebody watches the Hampton Crabbers, they see number 73, what are they seeing in him on the field? And is there a lineman out there that's playing pro college football that you kind of study or you say your game's similar to?
So who?
Yeah, is there anybody that maybe you model your game after you think your game's kind of similar to?
Me personally? Yeah. I'd say Chris Jones, Kansas City.
You smile at him. What is it about C. Jones that you're alike with or that you like?
His work ethic, you know what I'm saying? He don't give up, don't take plays off, go 100% every day. Every step. So,
I just mentioned you made that commitment to UVA. How juiced up for you to be a Wahoo? You got a whole other year of high school football to this, but you're getting a lot of 7x7 guys. Lonnie Andrews from Oscar Smith, Derek Fisher from Bethel here.
Yeah.
Something starting of the 7x7 and the Wahoos?
Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying? We're going to build a program.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Go up there, be great, do it all over again, try to win the national championship.
Sure.
As a whole, yeah.
I imagine their winning appeal to you during this whole process, right?
Yes, sir.
What was it about UVA that was different and made you want to do it now? You got a whole other year. What made you say, I want to end this now and just get it off my mind?
Me and the head coach has a lot of similarities. Okay. You know, we grew up in a rough lifestyle, you know, and to come out here and do what I love, you know what I'm saying, help my mom and all this other stuff. So I decided to stick with UVA, and I have a strong bond with UVA. So
I'm sure you're going to recruit some more guys from the 7-5 to join you. Last two here for you. This game tonight, did you all feel like Warwick didn't complete a single pass? Was part of the game plan make them have to throw? And if they do, Gavin and my mates up front, we're going to go chase that guy down and make them one-dimensional? What was sort of the thought process coming in? Be honest now.
We knew they was going to be running the ball a lot. We watched film. So we didn't think they was going to pass the ball a lot. So we just stepped our game up and watched for the run.
To give up 14 in the first quarter, and last question, to give up 14 in the first quarter and not give up the rest of the game, what does this show about the improvement from this defense? Because I don't know if a month ago you all would have done this against this type of competition. Do you feel like you've gotten better defensively? How so?
Yes, sir. You know, like I said, we stay in the lab. We work hard every day. We don't give up, you know, and we just want to win the state championship. So we're going to go out there and show what we do. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Tops in the PD. Watch out for number 73 for the Crabbers, and soon the Wahoos. Gene Jones Jr., thank you so much. Good job.
That was Gene Jones Jr. with us here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe as Hampton is at 7-1 overall. Ed in their final two games. Heritage coming up October 30th. Bethel on November the 6th. But I want to focus in on UVA, which just saw Gio Lopez get a 1-yard touchdown run for the Tar Heels, capping a 10-play, 75-yard drive in 5 minutes and 12 seconds. So North Carolina, you mentioned it a couple weeks ago, this was a trap spot for Virginia down in Chapel Hill with Coach Bill Belichick. He also got Ole Miss up 5 on Oklahoma with just under 5 minutes to go in the first half. But the number 16 ranked Cavaliers, 6-1 on the season, 3-0 in the ACC, in danger in this matchup with UNC, who's trying to make their season by spoiling UVA's chances, perhaps, of playing in the ACC championship and thus the college football playoff.
Yeah, and my first point, kind of neat to see UVA come in the area and what, 3 kids committed, three youngsters commit. Kind of reminds me back in the day when Virginia kind of owned this area to get players and then that kind of stuff.
Let me stop you there. When you say back in the day, are you talking about in the last 10 years when Mike London, or I should say 15 years, when he got 5 stars like Andrew Brown and he got Taquan Smoke Mizell and Quinn Blanding and Eli Harold, a couple of guys that played in the league. Brown was a Gatorade National Player of the Year. Or are you talking about going back to the George Welsh days, even before London and Al Groh? How when you say back in the day, give us a little more timeline when you say that. Because back in the day, it could also mean Chris Slade, Terry Kirby, late 80s, and Slade's now an assistant for UVA.
Right. That's way back. That's actually, well, no, Slade was my time. I got in Virginia, I think around in 84, 85. But from that era all the way to now, I'd say the last 5-6 years, Virginia wasn't getting some of the better players out of Tidewater. Now they came in here and got some kids I think can be really good college players, solid college players. And, you know, this year, this day of portal transferring, a lot of times the high school seniors are kind of overlooked, more so basketball than football, because football, so many numbers. But, and I'm, you know, being the old traditionalist, I want to see these seniors get opportunities at the right place and then be able to play. It just seems because of thousands of kids in the portal, a lot of schools figure, hey, we can get just as good plus experience out of the portal. So it's good to see teams go ahead and load up on some seniors. I mean, young kids that are going to be freshmen, seniors in high school now, or even the juniors that they're going after now. So that I kind of like.
Okay. Virginia going to be okay in this game because they were down against Washington State last week and put forth a comeback.
Well,
that was
the only thing is, you know, I'm waiting for Carolina to have a really put it together game. They've had some leads in the past and blow them. or they start out, they get scored on quickly first, and there seems no life in the program, on the team, that's not good. Of course, I'm one of these guys that hate all this crap that Belichick is having to deal with in just his first year. There are people talking about buyouts already and firing
crap. But hasn't he? Wait. Let me stop you there. Hasn't he also made some of this a problem himself? And you talk about his age and that woman, but letting her stay around the program constantly, and some of the negative feedback of you shake your head. No. Yes, assistant coaches are talking to. There are people in his program talking to outside. He's got some, and I've heard from people connected to the program. The ship he's running is not as tight as the ship he ran in the NFL, and he's not putting forth the same amount of time, effort, and work. I think you're just giving him his due because of his name and reputation. He's not busting and getting after it as hard as he used to. That's the bottom line. Don't give him a free pass just because he's Bill Belichick and you like him. Don't do that. It's not right.
Number one, the guy can coach, period. Number two.
I didn't say he can't coach. That's not what I said. I said you're giving him a free pass because of what he's accomplished. That's not fair.
The bottom line is this. When he got hired, for people to think he was going to win 10, 11 games on a program that's been down the last couple of years, no. 500, I think 500 would have been great. The problem I would have with Belichick is having his lady friend around the program, and I think he even gave her a title. That I would say to him right to his face, Bill, what are you doing? What are you doing? Okay, let's put her way off to the side. She could be your number one cheerleader, put her ahead of the cheerleaders, whatever, but not in the football program. What he's doing is he's running Carolina, and he said he would from the get-go, like a pro team, I think number 33. You can't run college and high school programs like you do pros. Pros, you manage them. You're not really coaching them. Your assistants will. Number three, when he got hired, one of the very first things he needs to do is get guys, assistants who are ingrained in the college game, not former pro players, blah, blah, guys that really know how to coach at the college level. And if he's not going to crack a whip, they have to, because these are still youngsters that need the discipline. You can't crack a whip real hard with the pro guys because they'll quit on you in a heartbeat. And you're going to get rid of the head coach way before you get rid of any players at the pro level. So I think he's been under attack because people figure he's going to come in and do great things. Now, I've seen him play a couple times on TV. And as I said, I see shoddy play. And that is a responsibility of the coach. Correct. Now, if we're going to say fire him because of that, well, Jesus, there'll be 30 guys in line from all other programs too.
I didn't say fire him, but you said 10, 11 games. Who had 10, 11 wins? Because I'm looking at their preseason over-under win total. That was
6, right?
No, it was 7.5. So there was no 10, 11. So let's not.
I said there's people who think that he's
going to. Who were those people? Diehards that were not in the know. They didn't have a quarterback that was established.
Whether you got to understand, we have a lot of idiot fans, whether in the know or not. Just like Norfolk State, people thought Norfolk State had somebody tell me this week, Coach, you pretty disappointed on what happened in Norfolk State. I go, what happened? Did something bad happen? Well, Norfolk State's only won one game. I go, I thought they'd win probably a little bit more than one or
we thought about 3
right
now.
But no, I give them time to be okay. Yeah. It's people's expectations go overboard because they hear of a name. When Belichick got hired at Carolina, I remember saying, why? Why would he want the college level? And it's a whole different ball game, college pro. It's just like high school to college, completely different situation. Though I think college and high school are a little bit closer than pro and college. Pro is just a whole nother situation by itself. Sure. And then you'll get your Nick Sabans, guys like that, where people say that's a great coach. Look at it. When you look at the great coaches, okay, let's cut through the layers. Yes, they're motivators. Yes, they know their X and O, but they have outstanding talent. Most of those big time programs have 2-3 guys deep at each position. Okay, so they're set up to now you're going to say, well, that's Belichick's problem too. Carolina can't recruit. I mean, how many players are going to die to go to Carolina, really want to go to Carolina? It's not a hotbed for football players to go to. Can they get enough to compete for a title in the ACC each year? I would say yes, that program should be good enough to be able to do that. Are they a national level program? Very few are. The ACC itself takes a hit nowadays because of SEC and Big Ten. ACC is not run like the SEC and the Big Ten. Nobody is.
Well,
But Belichick, I'm just saying.
The recruiting powers are now in the SEC and Big Ten, like you just said. But no,
yeah,
you would ordinarily give him time, but given all the reports and the fact this lady, I don't care about the age and him dating her. I care about, has she become a distraction, not just to the football program, but to Bill Belichick doing his job to the best of his ability. And by the way, Carolina's got the ball back for that. They just moved into UVA territory, big burst. And that's going to have them in field goal range after Davion Gauze's 25-yard rush with 18 ticks to go. So if UNC pulls this upset off today, you and I wouldn't have thought this was a monster upset start of the season. And remember, a couple of years ago, we talked about it when Mac Brown was there, 20-plus point favorite. Cavaliers knocked off UNC, a top 25 team, then the favorite. So it could be the reverse here. This could get Carolina on the right track after they had just a miserable performance a couple weeks ago against Clemson, and they've been lackluster in some other games, the Cal game, the TCU game, among other spots. So we'll see what happens as this game moves along. By the way, just came out on the wire, Hampton High alum, and they've had a lot of great quarterbacks over the years, which will lead us into our next interview before we take a break here. The likes of Ronald Curry and Marcus Hagans. And, oh, by the way, a guy named Tyrod Taylor, he has been ruled out due to injury for the game coming up against the Bengals. So Justin Fields will start in his place. Remember, Tyrod was the backup initially, got some time last week. Jets didn't beat Carolina, lost again. They're still winless. Aaron Glenn's job could very much be in jeopardy moving forward here in his first year at the helm after being the defensive coordinator for the Lions, though he's a former standout for the Jets, Jets. So no Tyrod coming up on Sunday afternoon against Cincinnati, minus Joe Burrow, using Joe Flacco at the QB spot. Speaking of quarterbacks, Tyrod once wore the Crabber red and black. Marcus Chapman now wears it, Ed, and he had himself a pretty good game on Thursday night.
Yeah, we're going to see what you had to say with Mr. Chapman here on Cobra Sports TV.
The Hampton Crabbers are alone atop the Peninsula District. They win at 21-14 of the Warwick Raiders tonight. We're here with the quarterback, Marcus Chapman, who, let's not even worry about the numbers tonight. You go 142 yards to the air, 10-17. You run the ball. You make a pick to finish things off tonight. How's it feel? You beat the rival Phoebus last week. No emotional hangover. You beat a very tenacious Warwick defense, and you're all atop the PD's. Got to feel pretty sweet.
Yeah, it feels very good. We've been waiting for this for a long time, and now that we've been able to accomplish it, it feels great, and we hope to keep going after this.
Been watching you now for a couple of years here, and your coach, Woodrow Wilson's told me he's seen a lot of maturation from the offseason to now for you. You've taken some beatings against those defenses, Phoebus and Warwick. How's it feel now to kind of survive show the resiliency and be on top here as you get closer to the playoffs?
It feels good. I feel now that I'm older, it's becoming more slower and easier, and I'm where I'm at now, and I'm thanking God for that too.
And it is like you're worried about the statistics. You're getting the ball. I think one of the things that stuck up tonight was you got the ball to 5 different receivers on your first 6 completions. So whether it was Davion Perry, Abraham Taft, your backs, you were able to spread the field. What was the game plan coming into tonight?
It was really looking for the check downs and just being calm and making the right reads. It feels good to have a lot of athletes on the field. So a lot of different people can touch the ball and do different things with it. So it was good being able to make the completions that I did, even though we did have some mistakes with that. But we came out victorious, so it felt good.
Take me through when you watch your teammate number 1, Casey Laster, on that play where he's having his lineman drag him in. I know he's listed at 5'5". He told me last week he's 5'7", but to see the guy that's the smallest in the field do what he does, how much do you all get juiced up over that?
Man, I love having him on my team. It's not a lot of times where he get the ball and I'm thinking he's going down. I think he's going to touch the end zone every time. Shout out to our linemen. They did that for me last week, but it got called back.
Right.
But this week it counted, and it paid off for us this year.
Did you feel like the line of scrimmage play? We know you got a guy that's going to UVA and Gene Jones, a big basketball dude in Gavin K. Did you feel like up front you all were better equipped for this matchup and what you've gone through would help you tonight and making them one-dimensional as well when it came to defense?
I feel that we have the best line in the PD, but we still making a lot of mistakes. And it's going to happen, but we got to make sure that it's not a lot of mistakes. So we just got to tighten up a little bit all around. Corners, receivers, even me, quarterback. Everybody got to tighten up for the rest of the season.
A few more let you run here. I asked this to your teammates, Davion and Casey, last week. How has this team grown and gotten different from the whooping you took to Glen Allen a month ago? It feels like this team is starting to peak at the right time. How have you all changed as a group, if at all? Have you changed at all as a team?
I would say that we work harder in practice. I would be honest that we could practice. We kind of came in lackadaisical. cocky, and that caused us to take the beating that we did. But now we're more locked in practices, even having silent practices. So it's a lot more, again, teach and again learn, and it's paying out when we play on Thursdays and Fridays.
Sure. What's this win do for y'all moving forward? I know you have goals of regional and state on your mind here with November around the corner here. What's this type of win do as you get ready for those couple of games before the postseason begins?
It helps a lot. It builds a lot of confidence. But like last week, we beat Phoebus, had a day or two celebration and got to move forward. And then we came here, so we got this win, 2 days, 1 day, 2 day celebration, and then we move forward and just keep working and building until we get to that state championship.
The first one, 2 phone ones. Recruiting, any update for you? I know you've got a lot of schools looking at you. There's a bunch of guys that are coming to UVA from the class of 2027, including your teammate and Derek Fisher tonight from Bethel. What's the update for you? Anything? Any new offers or interest that's on you?
It's been real slow, but we working, putting out more film. Okay. I just went to William and Maury last weekend, so that's who I kind of been talking to for a little bit. But we hoping more schools start looking into towards me.
Good deal. And lastly, Halloween's coming up. What's your candy choice?
Snickers.
Snickers from Marcus Chapman. First place in the PD. The Crabbers get it tonight. Thank you so much. Good job.
Appreciate it.
So Hampton wins at 21-14 over the Warwick Raiders, 7-1. They're now the number 1 seed in Region 4A with a power rating of 29.1, ahead of Lafayette, who's number 2 at 26.8. If the playoffs were to start today, it'd be Crabbers hosting 8th-seeded Manor, Lafayette as the 2 hosting 7th-seeded Denby, Warhill the 3 hosting 6th-seeded Smithfield. Remember, Smithfield knocked them off earlier this year before Warhill pulled off that giant upset of Poquoson last week, and the 4-5 game, Phoebus and Churchland. So there you have it. William & Mary, really the only one giving him a ton of attention. You say, what about UVA? What about Old Dominion? People ask about that. Well, UVA's got a quarterback commit in Lonnie Andrews III from Oscar Smith. Old Dominion's got a commitment in Phoebus's Maricus Banks from that class of 2027. So William & Mary, Mike London, former UVA coach, as the Cavaliers are deadlocked at 10 apiece now with UNC, who's got 173 yards through the air from Gio Lopez. We'll see who else gets in the picture. I know NC State was on him early. They've not probably been as, into him. He did have a couple picks in this game, but he made up for it with some plays with his legs, spread the ball around, and he also had an interception on defense to close out the game. So it'll be fun to watch him continue to develop here over these next several games. For them, they hope a playoff run, and then next season as a senior.
Yeah, he's got some time, obviously, being only a junior. I tell you, I'm intrigued by the William & Mary situation. I think that could be a prize for him to run that program and compete at that level where he probably can get. I don't know about as a freshman. I always think a lot of times freshmen in college, true freshmen, most of them get redshirted. It's just a fact of life. Some do play, but I would think a freshman in quarterback definitely would be redshirted, so he can take time to learn the whole system, get a little bit more physical, big in that.
Makes sense.
I know he wants to see more schools jump in there, but that's his coach, and I'm not, obviously. Just keep an eye on William & Mary. And I always tell players that I've had recruit over the years, the people that really are interested in you, have been on you, don't blow them off because some big name school all of a sudden jumps in and now act like they loved you forever. Pay attention to those people that really have been on you because they see something in you, especially they keep contacting you, that they feel you can do something in their program. And I would, don't get those big eyes about the bigger program because you can get lost in those programs real quick.
Yeah, indeed. We'll come back with more on this games around the 757 and beyond here on 757 Sports Talk. You want to talk about teams around Virginia, even outside of Hampton Roads, you are our guest to do so. Interact with us on the YouTube, on the IG, the Facebook. Hit up our chat line. Anything you want to talk about, you are welcomed to be our guest here on 757 Sports Talk, including what college football game you're looking forward to most this weekend, as well as the NFL games. We'll have our picks coming up at the end of the show with yours truly, the coach, and Bruce Pearl of the Virginia Beach Mustangs. Plus, we've got sound from Maury's win over Lake Taylor on Friday night with Dyrri McCain of the Commodores, and a guy that was at Darling Stadium with me and Marty O'Brien and many, many others, our pal Lynn Burke, who's got a book out, the Hampton Roads Football Encyclopedia. He's going to join us at the top of the hour to talk about that and probably give us his thoughts on what he watched between the Crabbers and the Raiders and what he thinks of Ed Young getting back on the sidelines at Smithfield this year. I'm sure he's got a perspective and some advice, some sound advice for you as you move forward into your new venture that is literally is it days away now or weeks away? Do you tell people that your first game is X amount of days or X amount of weeks? What do you tell them?
Really haven't said anything about our first game. Just I'm really concerned about today. But we play first game is December 2nd at Lafayette. Okay. And first home game is December 4th. So
it's a little more than a month. Okay.
Yeah. So we're just take care of today. But I would definitely, Lynn is one I would listen to. He's been around the sport so long. He hasn't coached, but he's seen a lot of shenanigans on sidelines with teams. So I'd be definitely interested in his.
He's seen shenanigans with you, not just teams. So let's make sure we get that outlined. But we're going to take a timeout, pay some bills, hear from some of the sponsors that make it possible for us to do the show with you on Cova Sports TV. Stay tuned, alligators.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
Portco is your local nonprofit organization dedicated to economic empowerment through employment for people with disabilities. We focus on abilities, not limitations, providing on-the-job vocational support. Find your pathway to employment. Contact us or learn more at portco.org.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
At Rush Soccer, our love of the game and the community we create doesn't stop when we leave the pitch or when the season ends. We are more than an individual player, team, club, or league. We are a truly global community of athletes, parents, coaches, professionals, and fans. We believe that youth sports and the pathway to a lifelong love of soccer have the power to form deep, meaningful connections that will fundamentally shape our players and those in our community. We believe that what we feel is the key to what we can achieve. Feel the pride. Feel the confidence. Feel the legacy. Feel the connection. Feel the trust. Feel the acceptance. Feel the purpose. Feel the difference. Feel the rush.
At Atomic Wings, we prioritize real chicken with fresh, all-natural, never-frozen ingredients, all packed with serious flavor. Order from over 15 awesome flavors at atomicwings.com.
How do you talk to a giant? Very simple. You use big words.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
So words like gargantuan, Gigantic, immense. Those are big words.
I don't know how you snuck one of those in there when we have already set it up.
Woody
pool is out.
I opened the mail and I got a check and it said it was one of Woody's relatives and he asked if you could play one more pool intro, it would be to his satisfaction. And I thank Woody's relative for sending me that in the mail, and I wanted to make sure I obliged. So there you go. That's why we did it.
Well, there'll be another find in the mail coming to you soon. A little bit of a like a ticket that you're going to be getting. It's going to be
ticket. How am I going to get a ticket?
You just broke law because we have it set where Fool in the Pool is permanently suspended until further notice, and you just broke it.
Well, hey, there you go. Brobjignagian. Can you say that or spell that, Ed? It's a big word right there.
Yeah, Woody, don't use words you can't spell or don't know the meaning of.
Well, he just spelled it right. That's a big one.
We got one of the
massive, mammoth,
the
large.
A and the N, I think, is backwards. A and N is.
If you think so. Well, you're not a great speller, so I don't know where you're going with it. Hey, interact with us on Cova Sports TV on our YouTube channel, as well as on IG, Facebook, Twitter, X. We want to hear from you this afternoon. Who's your pick for player of the year at Hampton Roads and why? What teams have the best chances to win VHSL state football championships? And again, we've also been asking you today, NFL game you're most looking forward to on this particular weekend. We know Ed's not looking forward to watching the Cardinals play because they're on the bye week. Hey, thank goodness they're on the bye week.
I think they're playing my Raiders in the backyard somewhere.
Packers-Steelers on Sunday night is one that's got my attention. And what college football game are you most looking forward to right now? Ole Miss got the lead on Oklahoma. There are some other games that have some interest that we'll probably highlight before today's episode is done. I know later on involving top 25 competition, Texas A&M at LSU tonight. I got LSU Brian Kelly getting off the mat here and knocking off A&M this evening. And I would also caution upset alert. People are going to think I'm crazy for this one, Ed. Michigan at Michigan State, 13.5-point favorite. It's an in-state rivalry game. Michigan better be careful in that game. That's not necessarily an easy game for them. I know people think it is, but let us know. And also, if you enjoyed game 1 of the World Series, like I did. Oh, Canada. Kevin Gausman, get it done. Win game 2 today. Send Yamamoto and his guys packing down 2 games to love. They deserve that for all the Shohei Ohtani love fest last week. Oh, my goodness.
I'm hoping it's a sweep just to get baseball done with. I know Larry Bowman, one of our favorites out there. I know you're a big Dodger fan, but either
that
Toronto
bullpen is dicey. That bullpen for LA is dicey. It's not great. And Toronto, I saw the stat. I got to mention it. I saw it on X late last night. I don't know if you did or not, Ed. This is really amazing to me. I'll read it to you. So with what Toronto did last night against LA with the 9+ runs, only 2 other times has it happened in the history of the World Series in an inning. 1968 Tigers and 1929 Athletics.
Well, I would think that you would have had some of those Yankee teams winning the past would put up some runs.
Not that many. 9 in an inning is a lot of runs.
Yeah, that's I would never think in a World Series a team like the Dodgers would do that with 9 runs. I mean, that's usually done against teams that win maybe 50, 60 games a year, if that. But Toronto put it on, and now makes to see how the Dodgers respond because Toronto can get a 2-0 lead. And I don't think anybody saw a 2-0 lead. That would be obviously very good for them because now after today, they go back to LA they go to LA for 3.
The middle games, yes. It just came out earlier. I don't know the exact time. I think it was a little bit before we signed on that Lamar Jackson is out for the game on Sunday against the Chicago Bears. So Baltimore, which is 1-5, will have Tyler Huntley start in his place. And Chicago's been surging. So there's another quarterback update for folks out there wondering on that front. All right, let's get to the high school games because we have Lynn coming up in about 10 minutes or so. Where do you want to begin? We do have a conversation with Dyrri McCain that we can hold for later on, or we can play later on, up to you. But where would you like to start for Friday's contest that transpired?
Well, let's you did some Thursdays from, I think a couple of those were in the Peninsula. What do we have left in the Peninsula? Friday night, last night, anybody play? Oh, I see one, Denby.
Yeah, you've got that. And that's a game that Ed Young, ladies and gents, decided to take Woodside. I had Denby, and it wasn't close.
42-13.
Listen to the numbers of Kevin Parker, the junior quarterback for Denby. Probably his best game in a Denby uniform. 16 of 28 for 187 yards passing and 2 touchdowns, 10 rushes for 140 yards and 3 scores. By the way, one of those scores to Callan Morrison, the point guard from a couple of state title teams for Woodside, now playing for Denby, and he'll help the Denby basketball team in the winter. So that adds up to 327 total yards and 5 scores in a 42-13 romp. First win over Woodside since 2015. I'm sorry, not 2015, 2005, I think it is. They ended a 17-game losing streak, rather. 17-game losing streak in the series. Parker now with 14, 54, and 11 touchdown passes on the year. That's player of the week material right there, my friend. Wow, wow, wow. Denby probably punched its playoff ticket, and that's a good win. And I know that's why you were high on them before the season and had them picked as high as 4th in the PD, which is not going to happen, but they played their best game. When it matters here as we get closer to November in the playoffs.
Yeah, that big signature win for him in this season, where I think things have not gone the way they expected it.
Ahmad Gibbs is with you, Ed. He wants the basketball to start up. I'm sure he enjoyed having the NBA on NBC with John Tesh and Round Ball Rock back on. I will tell you this, and I'm going to get people upset. I don't care. I love the NBA on NBC. It brings me back to my youth in the 90s, the great era when you had not just MJ. By the way, his insights, they were not that insightful. Let's just be honest. It was camera time with him and Mike Tirico. He didn't really shed any insight on anything. At some point, he probably will, though, in these little segments they're doing. But Reggie Miller and Patrick Ewing, and I'm partial to Karl Malone and John Stockton and Charles Barkley and Akeem Olajuwon and that whole crew of casted characters and stars during that time frame. But NBC's coverage pales in comparison to Shaq, Kenny, EJ, and Charles on Inside the NBA, which is now on ESPN after being on TNT for many years. That desk needs to be reconstructed. I don't know what Carmelo Anthony was wearing, number one, and the meshing with Tracy McGrady and Vince Carter, not that great. Now, the game coverage will be fine with Noah Eagle and Grant Hill, and then I think Maria Taylor does a fine job as studio host. And also their lead team with with Mike Tirico and Reggie Miller and Jamal Crawford is good. I think Jamal Crawford's good. I don't know if they'll use the 3-man booth moving forward. We'll see. But they got to fix some things because their production on opening night it had its cobwebs and a little rusty. The sound was a little rusty. It was not great. It was not great. But we'll see.
I agree with you on the what is it? Carmelo, McGrady, and Carter. Is it just those three?
I believe that's what it was, and that mixture doesn't have the dynamic that Shaq, right, Kenny, and Charles, which they've been doing it for decades together, and that chemistry matters when you do those shows. But it's lacking right now. It's definitely lacking. And it sounded like it was their first rehearsal, is what it felt like. I wonder if they'd ever done it before together.
There's no leader in that group. Like Ernie Johnson really takes care of Shaq and those guys.
He's a great traffic cop, but I don't blame that on Maria Taylor. I blame that on who put them together. It felt like they were completely new and never done it before. So
Maria Taylor with them three is still a disaster. So,
but I don't know that if you could put EJ or the greatest traffic cops. I'm saying I'm not sure that mixture works. Is what I'm getting at. So I'm not blaming her. I'm not saying she's the greatest. I'm just saying it's not her fault. So that covers the PD. Going on, I think now, unless we've gotten a final, was Kickingham and Menchville. So I haven't seen a score come across on that game. Maybe you have, Edward. I haven't. So
no score given. If somebody out there knows of somebody there, text them, get the score, let us know before we get off the air.
I do know, by the way, late first quarter last, I saw Old Dominion was beating App State 10-7 in that game. Oh, we do have an update. Kickingham and Menchville. Looks like in the third quarter, it's tied at 7 apiece. It's a game where Ed and I differ, I think. You took Kickingham, did you not?
I don't have my picks in front of me.
You don't even know. Look. See, this is how he brags on beating me in the picks, and he has no idea who he picked in the game. That is really, really sad and pathetic. I got to be honest with you. You should know this like the back of your hand. You should be able to say, yeah, I picked so-and-so. I'm looking at it now. You had Kickingham 26-22. I had Mitchell 21-15. So that could be all important on the games here because not only did Denby beat Woodside Manor, but there's a game in the Eastern District that we disagreed on that allowed me to go from 1 down to 1 up on you. So you are now trailing in the head-to-head picks.
No, I'm not sweating it. We still got a lot of football to play.
No sweat, Ed Sweat. All right, let's get one more district cranked out before we bring Lynn on the show. We covered the PD. Would you like to cover the Bay Rivers and stay on that side of the water, or would you like to come to the south side?
No, I'm going to go south side, Eastern District.
Eastern District. All right, read us the scores. You have them, do you not?
I got Manor 48-8 over Booker T. I see Norcom 12-8 over Norview. And the big one, for Maury, 42-14 over Lake Taylor.
Well, but see, you say that game was tied at the half at 7 and 14 all in the third quarter after literally Lake Taylor answered a 78-yard touchdown run by Tayshawn Branch with a 77-yard touchdown run on the very next play from scrimmage by Jeremiah Farabee. And the Titans hung in there because of 2 first-half turnovers from Maury. And at Lake Taylor with Hank Slater's group, you had him as your most improved team, Ed. They had Maury, I don't want to say shaking in their boots, but on upset alert before the last, 16, 17 minutes of the game. It was all Commodores as they flexed their muscles, got the air attack going, and pulled away against the Lake Taylor team that didn't have quite the depth and bodies on defense to hang in there. Not going to do much damage to Lake Taylor in terms of seeding. They're still going to be the number 1 seed, looks like, in Region 3A. So all roads go through Norfolk if you want to get to the state playoffs from that region for teams like the New Kents, the Tabs, the Norcoms, and Maury with a firm grip on the top seed in Region 5B. But one note this week, Mason Thomas, Mason Thomas played at Kempsville. Mason Williams, coach of Booker T, has stepped down at the helm of the Bookers. Parrish Howell has taken over. So 2 coaching changes in the Eastern District during this season, which is pretty unusual.
Yeah, Booker T has just been up against it here in the last 2 years for sure, trying to get points on the board. Mason Williams in his first year apparently didn't work out, and he decided, I'm guessing that he decided just to step aside and let it be better for somebody else to run it. He's run his course. I don't know. I haven't talked to the man, but hopefully before the season ends, Booker T can, somehow get a win. Who does Booker T have left in the regular season? You have that schedule?
I do have that schedule. So looking at the remaining games for the Bookers with this loss, they have Churchland and Norcom. So it's probably not going to happen, to be honest with you. It's difficult. Yeah. So as far as teams that haven't gotten themselves a win, we know in the Beach District, Princess Anne hasn't gotten a win. They have Cox and Salem left. Eastern District, it's just Booker T. Southeastern, it's still Grassfield, who's got Hickory and Deep Creek on deck, as well as Lakeland, who's got Nans River and Great Bridge. And by the way, those 2 teams do not play each other. Lakeland and Grassfield. Over in the Peninsula District, believe it or not, everybody has gotten themselves a win. And that includes Heritage, Minchville, Kickingham, who did not get a win last year. And in the Bay Rivers, the lone without a W is Gloucester. So that covers the 5 districts as far as who's still seeking that first W on the campaign. So that covers the Eastern. And we've covered the PD. And when we come back, we're going to talk some more football, but we're going to also talk about a new book that's out. People have already hit my Facebook up and Instagram. In fact, we put out a picture with him the other night, and they said, how do we get a copy? I said, well, he's coming on to talk about it and tell you how at 2 o'clock today with us. And that is Lynn Burke, longtime sports reporter for the Daily Press and HR Varsity. And he's done some historian contributions for us at Virginia Preps from time to time. But he's going to come on and talk about the Hampton Roads Football Encyclopedia. Ed, I've got my copy. I'll show you it. You don't have a copy, so boo-boo. It's coming up with Lynn right here on 757 Sports Talk. And they're watching it where, Coach?
Right here on Coba Sports TV.
Come on back with more in just a bit after these words from our partners.
Did you know that the minimum limits in Virginia are $30,000? $30,000 is a lot of money on an individual basis, but if you're involved in a personal injury matter, that's not enough. Here at Williams Lloyd's, we're happy to provide a consultation on the amount of coverage you have in your vehicle. It can be confusing. Not many people understand it. You know you need to have it, but do you have enough? Give us a call today at 757-547-5555 so we can help you prepare in the case of an automobile accident or any other personal injury matter that you or your family may find yourself in.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why there's CHKD Sports Medicine. Advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries, just for young athletes like yours.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Bacon cheeseburger, fries, drink, and a sundae. No time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7 right now at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship. And that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us. And the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
It's 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and the one and only Coach Ed Young. Every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on Cova Sports TV. From high school football and basketball to the NFL, MLB, college sports, and the NBA, if it's making headlines, they are breaking it down. Bold takes, big-time guests, and a few laughs, especially at the expense of that basketball coach, Ed Young. Catch it on Cox TV and your view, and don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube at Cova Sports TV.
And now back to Matthew Hatfield and that evil basketball coach. Blast you, Ed Young!
And we're back here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. And we have a special guest with us. He's a longtime sports reporter. He's put in, I'm sure he'll give us the exact number of years, 40-plus years with the Daily Press, covering all things sports for them. We say he's a future Hall of Famer. Should already be in Halls of Fame. And he is the author of this brand new book, the Hampton Roads Football Encyclopedia. My goodness, this is a treasure, folks. 385 pages. And I have to give him a shout out. He was so kind, and I didn't deserve it, even gave me a shout out on page 5 on the methodology page. But Lynn Burke with us. How are you, my friend? Good to see you. It was great catching up with you Thursday night. You're excited that this project is done and get a little coin to come in and see this vision you had years ago come to fruition. Uh-oh, Lynn, we don't have your audio here for some reason. Uh-oh, let's see if we can get that corrected. I don't know for some reason we don't have the audio working for you. We will try to get that rectified here in just a moment so you all can hear Lynn, what he has to say.
I think his wife Charlotte has him on mute. So we might have to ask her.
He can hear it. We'll figure what's going on wrong with the microphone there for Lynn here in a moment. Hopefully get that corrected. Oh, I see he muted himself now. We'll see if he can unmute and see if the audio is working out there for the mic. Let's see if we can. I'm checking on my end. So yeah, for some reason it's not allowing me to get him with his audio. I don't know if it's something on the computer there. So we'll troubleshoot that here momentarily and try to get Lynn back on to talk about this book, this work of art that he has put together here. It has a ton of information. It's a great resource on the history of high school football in Hampton Roads, going back to well before even Ed was born, which is
that's a while ago. I heard rumors Lynn his first report was on the Last Supper. I did hear that rumor.
Oh, is that true? Let's see if Lynn's audio is working out. Are we here? Can you hear us, Lynn? Or let's see if we can hear you.
We can't.
He can hear us, but we're not getting any audio from Lynn.
Lynn, get Charlotte. She is the one that has you on mute with her special button. We got to get her to unmute you. Come on now.
We'll see. Do us this favor if you can.
We are finding out right now the success of the Burke's marriage all these years. We are finding out live.
Try to do this for us. Let's see if you can, out of the studio here, see if it lets you log out and then log back in. There probably is a test page to see that your mic is working, but for some reason it's not allowing us to get your audio. I don't know why that is. That's actually the first time that's happened. I'm actually shocked. We've had other issues in 2+ years of doing this, but for some reason we've never had someone come on and their audio not work. We've had their video not work. Now, we've had that, but not the audio. It's not been the other.
I still say get Charlotte involved. She has the gizmo.
Very well could be the case. So we will work on that and try to get Lynn back here on the program to where you all can hear what he has to say, because you all got to see him. Like I said, we've had the opposite where we've actually had some people come on before, including Phil Steele and Tim Kirchin, although Tim Kirchin's usually been on the screen with us, but both of them come to mind where they didn't come on with their visual, just their audio. In fact, Steve Molesky did that too from Masson, if you remember, on the Orioles. He was the one that came on just with audio, no video, for the podcast, which people are used to that from many, many years of us doing radio. They could hear who we had on, but they never could see them. Now with us on Cova Sports TV, and also available to watch on Cox Communications in your view. If you haven't gotten that info, we started back in June or July. I think it was in June. Channel 60 for folks in Hampton Roads, Channel 74 in Northern Virginia, 77 in Fredericksburg, and Channel 9 in Roanoke. So you can watch us on the TV, on the telly, and those times, of course, Monday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern, Tuesdays at 12 noon, and Wednesdays at 4 o'clock. So there you have it. And we're always available on Cova Sports TV on YouTube. All right, Lynn is back with us. Let's see if the audio is working. Oh, we're not working. We don't have any audio working. It looks like we had a green bubble though pop up when you were talking. I'm not sure what the problem is there for that. So we will try to. No, we're not getting any audio from Lynn for some reason at this point. So we will continue to troubleshoot this and try to get it rectified. But in any event, we will take another quick timeout while we get that working on, and hopefully get Lynn on the program with us here as we try to work our way through this on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. And we're getting closer and closer to basketball season, Ed. And you remember when you go down to the SEC in Fayetteville, what you're going to hear when you see John Calipari's team play.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why parents count on CHKD Sports Medicine, advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries, just for young athletes like yours. With convenient locations across Hampton Roads and a whole team of experts here to keep your favorite player at the top of their game. CHKD Sports Medicine. Learn more at chkd.org or call the CHKD Sports Injury Hotline.
Cova Painting. We don't just paint, we transform spaces. Visit covapainting.com or call 757-550-7357 and mention the Sportsplex for 10% off of projects over $1,000.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever! The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Bacon cheeseburger for a limited time, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. Yeah, this is not the time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. And there's bacon on that burger. The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Now, for a limited time on the $7 Meal Deal lineup. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
What does happiness mean to you?
Being in the ocean with you, watching you catch super fun waves.
In Virginia Beach, happiness is breaking barriers and savoring the sunshine.
I couldn't pick a better place or a better person to be with. This is what makes me happy.
Happiness is going all out.
And taking it all in.
Here, happiness is whatever you make it. Find yours in Virginia Beach.
I grew up here.
I know this town. I know the people here. More important, they know me. As a banker at Town Bank, we become part of the communities we serve. The people who bank with us, our members, know us. When you bank with Town Bank, you'll know your banker. You'll know you can reach us, and you'll know we're here for you.
What do you get when you cross a snake and a dessert? A python. A python.
And now back to Matthew Hatfield and the evil basketball coach. Blast you, Ed Young!
And we are back here on 757 Sports Talk on Code Sports TV. Right, sure. We now have Lynn Burke with us. Oh, there he is. Oh, and we lost him as soon as he came on by phone. We were actually trying the phone method, and then he popped on, and we lost him. Daggone technology's playing havoc with us today. I don't know what's going on. There's that. It's that gremlin in the background. It's that gremlin messing up with all the technology today. He popped on, and then boom. That was Charlotte White making him have to do some chores there. Oh, we've got Lynn now back with us. The gremlin grabbed you for a moment, but we gave him the build-up earlier. He is the longtime sports reporter for the Daily Press, from everything from high school to college and in between, 40-plus years in the business. We say future Hall of Famer, and now the author of this book, the Hampton Roads Football Encyclopedia. It has got the history of high school football in southeastern Virginia from 1878 to 2024. 1878, just a couple years before Ed was born. Lynn Burke with us. Good to have you on the program. How are you, my friend?
Can you hear me finally?
We've got you now. Yeah, after we troubleshooted all of our technology issues, we got you on. So apologize about that. I'm not sure if it was on our end or your end, but how's life treating you? It was great to see you on Thursday at Darling Stadium, and you've got to be breathing a sigh of relief. You finally got this lifelong vision of yours and project in the books, literally and figuratively.
I was never quite sure that it was going to be published. I fits and starts and frustrations and stuff. But finally, I just made up my mind that it was going to get done, and I didn't want to wait till the end of this season because I didn't want to try to scramble and reformat everything. So I decided to cut it off after 2024. Before
Ed comes on here with his hard-hitting questions for you, I want to know what made you want to do this, because you obviously have a reservoir of high school football information at your fingertips and have covered it for many years. But what made you want to do this? And as you got deeper and deeper into this, did you say, was this a mistake, or did it just encourage you to get it done more and more? Take me through that process if you can.
I've always enjoyed researching. Back when I was in high school, I would dig through the weekly newspaper back in my hometown for old basketball and baseball scores and stuff like that. And what really prompted this was, Hampton's won almost 900 football games now. This was before they won 500. There was an assistant principal there named Bobby Croft. Had been a basketball coach at a couple of schools. He'd seen in a coaching magazine of schools that had won 500 or more games. And he called me up one night and he said, "Lynn, any idea how many games Hampton's won?" I said, "I don't have a clue." I mean, this was probably in the 70s, 80s maybe. We had records going back to about 1950. So I started delving through microfilm, and I think I came up at that point with 475. And I just started expanding that onto the other Peninsula schools and so forth. And as I wrote in the foreword to the book, one day I was at the Old Dominion Library doing some research, and the light bulb went off. I'm going to do the Peninsula. Why am I not going to do all of Hampton Roads, considering 2/3 of the schools that are in this area are south of Hampton Roads?
Pretty cool. Lynn Burke, our guest, the author of the new book that you can get on the history of high school football in Hampton Roads. It's the encyclopedia. In fact, it's a total of 385 pages, which would take Ed probably 3.5 weeks to finish minimum. Our guest here on 757 Sports Talk, powered by Cova Sports TV. Coach?
Well, first of all, I got to get the book to finish the book. And I got a feeling once I start reading it, it's coming. Once I start reading it, I won't put it down. I'm fascinated by guys and women who write books. I've been tempted to write a book on my journey in coaching, but I have no idea where to start. It's where to go. I have some memory, but not probably what I need to put it all out on paper, because some of the stories they'll look fictional, but they're the real thing. Lynn, I bow to you on that, because 385 pages, and you did talk about your frustrations and whatever. Did you get help, and what kind of help was it to be able to go through this? I know you did a lot of the research, which a lot of good writers will do research on stories. This is why, as Matt mentioned earlier, how you're not in any Hall of Fame is unbelievable. And I know you don't like people talking about it, but we will, because some of the jokers they got in some of these Hall of Fames under sports writing, whatever, and you're not, you got to be kidding me. Not that some of them don't deserve it, but Lynn Burke deserves it. But anyways, get back to the thing. What other help you got in this book?
Well, first of all, there's not a lot of prose in there. It's a lot of lists and game-by-game scores, year-by-year scores, records and things like that. There's one section which is a year-by-year, basically recap of what happened that year, and that takes up maybe, I'm guessing, 20 pages. The rest of it is all lists and charts and a lot of pages in the back of all district, all state, and all region teams. A lot of names and so forth, coaching records and players who've played pro football, college All-Americans, things like that. So I didn't have to sit there and write a whole lot of prose. It was just mostly getting information and confirming it and making sure it everything balanced out.
And I would imagine getting it correct is the hardest part.
It was very difficult. You will get a copy. In fact, I had a message just before I got on here that I have mail in my mailbox. I've ordered a couple more copies. Unfortunately, I went down there and it wasn't the books. They're supposed to come in a day or so, and one of them is earmarked for you. But there are three things in there. There are yearly standings. There are you're at Smithfield now. Smithfield's 1948 record game by game, and then 49 game by game. Then there's a little section of the yearly record, 7-2, 9-3. Had to go through and make sure for each school everything matched up, and that took a while and made me go back and do some research just to confirm things.
Yeah, that's awesome. You say it's just list or whatever. I don't take that lightly, as opposed to somebody that has a bunch of words in a book, because again, you're fact finding. You're going to have, nobody else can do that. So you're going to have to be, the key there is, as we just talked about, is having those facts right. Because I can imagine somewhere somebody might say, hey, I read this book in 1962. I was on the team. You have us for 3 wins. We had 4.
I'm sure there's going to be something like that. But one of the things I tried to do was, especially probably from 1950 on, was the newspapers, the Virginian Pilot, the afternoon paper, the Ledger Star, and model paper, the Daily Press, would run standings, and I would make sure I would match those standings up to what I had. So there was a lot of checks and balances going on. Inevitably, I know somebody's going to message me and say, hey, this or that or whatever, and I'm going to feel bad. I already know of one omission. I'm not going to mention it. That's bugged me since I looked at the book the other day.
Well, the omission, put it this way: if they find it and say something to you, send them an autograph of Lynn Burke on a piece of paper, because they found it. That's fine. Nobody writes. I believe, this is my opinion. I don't think any book that you look at doesn't have omissions or a mistake. Phil Steele, who does the football book that Matt and I, and you've seen it too.
Oh yeah,
we love it. As I read through it, I counted this year already 4 little mess ups that maybe not by him, maybe it's the print, whatever. But I'm not going to get on the phone and say, hey, Phil, I see these 4 mess ups here. The book is too good. And I imagine, and I appreciate that. So listen to this. Lynn Burke has my own special copy waiting for me. He's going to autograph it. So this knucklehead here thinks he had one over on me. Good job, Lynn, because we have to put him in his place. He always thinks he wants to get on there, act like a little kid. Nana, you ain't got a copy. That's why I didn't say nothing. See, I was calm, cool, because Lynn has already told me earlier, Ed, don't buy the book I'm going to get you my. And I said, Lynn, I'll buy it. I'll definitely pay. I'll give you one because of the work you've done.
But hold on here. I didn't see your name on page 5, which was again awful kind to him to put in there. You didn't have to do that.
It's a football book. My name doesn't belong in there. Okay. Now,
here we go. Here we go.
Here we go. Here we go. High school football book, Lynn. Matt Hatfield's name will be in there on every page for the amount of screw ups he has done. Yes, I could see that too. So hats off to you for mentioning him one time, because every once in a while he does get something right.
Well, let me say this. When Matt and I were standing on the sidelines before the football game the other night, we were laughing about how long it was going to take you to ask me, hey, Lynn, when are you going to do a basketball book? And
that was my next question. There you go.
Well, all right.
Hey, hold on now, Lynn. Lynn, you know I love you to death, but if you don't do a basketball book, I'm going to be a little bit upset. I'm just saying, because that was on my head. The minute I heard you did a football, I said, well, wait a minute. Is he working on the basketball? I don't know how much help I can give him. I got to see that.
I knew it.
Let me say this. I really started working on this book in 1984, and now it's 2025. So that's, 41 years? I'm 77 years old now. 41 years from now? Yeah. But no, I tell you what I am working on are not 757 centered, but for the state, I have really one ready to go after this football season. It's a history of the state football playoffs and state champions. And I've also got one ready for boys basketball. The same thing. I've just got to do some more research there and wait till after this season. And I just started last week researching the same thing for girls basketball.
The thing that's really cool is we're talking with the new author of the Hampton Roads Football Encyclopedia. He'll tell you how you can get your copy here in just a bit with us on 757 Sports Talk, powered by Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. Lynn Burke, our guest, the history of high school football in southeastern Virginia from 1878. You said 1978. No, 1878, folks, to 2024. It's over 140 years, folks. A lot of years here. But I'll tell you how you can get it in a moment. But I brought this up when we talked about it Thursday night when you and Marty O'Brien and I were sharing the press box at Darling during the Hampton Warwick game. And we'll talk to you a little bit after this segment, too, about what's happening in high school football, because we love getting your perspective. People love, you know this, whenever they see their name of their school or a game they played in a book or whatever it is, they see their picture in the newspaper or the magazine or now on the internet on a website. They love that, and their family members and their friends love that. And I was telling us right before the game, Maury Lake Taylor, former Lake Taylor standout Wayne Davis, you got a list of all state teams, all region teams, all district teams, guys that made the NFL. Just about anything you want to know that's happened is in this book. So if you're a current player, current coach, former player, former coach, this will fascinate you. It's one of those things, and I'm telling you, I noticed this on YouTube during COVID with the Hampton Football Media Network, going back and watching all games. Ed said it best. You'll pick up something like this, and you'll say, okay. Then you start going through it, and you're sitting there, and it's 2:22 p.m. on a Saturday or Sunday, and then when you got to go somewhere, it's now 3:43. You spend an hour looking at things in this. But I brought it up, and this is what really grabbed me, Lynn. Wayne Davis, one of just 3 players from Hampton Roads in the last 15 years. It's been a Gatorade State Player of the Year. The other ones being Demetrius Nicholson from Bayside and Andrew Brown from Oscar Smith, who was the Gatorade National Player of the Year. That's it in the last 15 years. But for you, besides like some obscure score from 1892, what one or two things as you went through this, compiling these lists and these scores and all this data and information, really grabbed you and made you say, wow, that's really cool, or I didn't know that, or I'm shocked by that?
Well, a couple of things. One, if you go back to 1900, 1910, stuff like that, if you look through the yearly summary, some of the little notes that I've got, like one year before, Manor used to be Wilson High School. Before that was Portsmouth High School. One year, this was in one of the Southside newspapers, said the Portsmouth players had to chip in and buy a football. And that football had to last them the entire year. And when the season was over, they deflated it to put it in storage for the next year. And then there was another instance where I think it was a Hampton Newport News High School game back way in the dark ages, said something about it was a cleanly played game. There was just one instance of slugging. Another game where Hampton forfeited to a school that was back around the turn of the century, 1900, in Hampton, Old Point Comfort College. Hampton High forfeited the game because Old Point put its coach in, which had, according to the newspaper story, said they had agreed not to.
Wow.
There's all sorts of fun little tidbits there. There's Norfolk Academy back in maybe 1907 played Warrenton, North Carolina. They took a train down there, and it says they stayed in a hotel, 3 rooms at 37.5 cents a room, plus a ham sandwich for each of the players. On the way back, 14 hotel rooms for 50 cents a night.
Now, tell me this is true, not a misprint, because Ed's gonna ask me this when he sees his copy of the book. I'm on page 135 right now. Just turn to it. Kempsville, one of my old schools. I say one of my old schools.
Mhm.
Ed always says it was my favorite, 5 years or 6 years, lunch line, all that stuff. You know where I'm going with this too. 1943, Lynn, they went 0-7, and they were coached by Donald Trump.
Yes, before I started research on this, I had no idea that there was a Kempsville High School before the Kempsville we know now opened up in 67 or 68. But the old Kempsville High School, I think they played their first football game in 1923 or 1924. I think they were called the Blue Devils. Colors were blue and white. But all of a sudden, let me back. The only way I could have done a lot of this, because I spent a lot of time going through microfilm files, burning my eyes out. But so many newspapers now are digitized where you can search for things. So one day I was searching for, Kempsville High and whatever that year was, and it said the coach was not to get political, was Donald Trump. So I think his father was a minister at one of the churches here, or he was the minister. I'm not sure which. Wasn't here. I don't think here all that long, but back in those days, a lot of times you had outside people would be the coaches.
That's wild. That is so wild.
I know. And the other thing that really shocked me, and I just discovered this about a month ago, was on the college page, there's a list of players in the College Football Hall of Fame. And I had a list of 7 or 8 or 9, whatever it was. On one of the Facebook groups for Virginia football, somebody posted about a guy who played at Hampton High School in the early 40s. I think his name was Robin Olds, or I don't have any book in front of me. Went on, played at U.S. Military Academy, and was named to the College Football Hall of Fame. And the guy said he mentioned that because the fella did not play pro football. He went into the Army and then the Air Force as a pilot, and had just a outstanding career. But he was honored as College Football Hall of Fame. So I listed him at the last minute. Went in and looked in microfilm, and nothing outstanding at Hampton. But once he got to Army, he just blossomed.
Wow. One more before we go to break here, and we'll get a chance for people to, if they have a question for you, they can pose it to you on our chat line on YouTube, on Cova Sports TV, and I'll also tell you how you can get your copy of this book. But one thing, too, you mentioned the College Football Honors. I'm going to throw this to Ed's way, and Lynn, you can chime in on it, too. We mentioned about Gatorade National Player of the Year, USA Today and Parade Magazine National Players of the Year, which were guys like Terry Kirby from Tab and Ronald Curry from Hampton. But never before has a player from Hampton Roads, as many great ones as we've had, go on to the NFL and win championships and all these different things, Hall of Famers. But never before has a player from Hampton Roads won the Heisman Trophy. And that includes guys that were high in the voting, Lynn, Leroy Keys, Michael Vick, Ace Parker, Mike Voigt, DJ Dozier, Kenny Easley. But that's pretty astonishing that nobody from the 757s ever won the Heisman.
The year that Leroy Keys finished second, he finished second to O.J. Simpson. And the year before, he was third behind. I think O.J. was second, and I can't remember. Gary Beeman, the quarterback for UCLA, was the ice winner. I can't remember, but Leroy was third and then second.
How about that, Ed? Never has someone from Hampton Roads won a Heisman. I'd be curious to see if it happens in any of our lifetimes, because you would think that at some point somebody might do it, but it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I kind of, knowing that some of the names, especially the last 25, 30 years, that none of them were from Hampton Roads. Will it happen? Pedigree of players we have coming out of here, you would think. But, Keys was behind Simpson. People got to remember O.J. Simpson in college was just a whole nother level. Yeah. And I remember Keys at Purdue was just a tremendous athlete. At that time, when I was a youngster, I didn't know where he was originally from, the Hampton Roads area. But yes, he was one of the best coming out of here. And that kind of leads me into what I'm going to say to Lynn. And I know Lynn gets asked a lot about, man, you've seen him come and go. You've seen them all. who's the best, and I don't want to pinpoint you on that. I'm a little bit more open question, Lynn, in terms of in your coverage days. Do you have a few favorites, either because you liked when you covered a game, you liked how they played, or the stats that they put up, or maybe through your interviews with people, how the kids handled themselves? What would be some players that really going to stand out for Lynn Burke?
Well, of course, my career was at the Daily Press, so I was dealing mostly with Peninsula guys. But, there's so many that stand out. Terry Kirby, at the time, set state records for rushing, just an all-around great player. Allen Iverson. I remember standing, Iverson, of course, a great football player, great basketball player. I remember in the lobby of the Daily Press, we were doing some all-star story. I remember standing talking to him, saying, "What are you going to do in college?" He goes, "I hope I don't have to choose." Well, he chose basketball, and he certainly made the right choice there. And you can't forget Ronald Curry. Just, when I think when Marty O'Brien and I, back, this is 20 years, we did our summertime publication of the greatest athletes in Peninsula history. I think we had them 1 and 1A, Curry 1 and Iverson 1A. And of course, Iverson missed his senior year because of his legal troubles. If he'd have played his senior year, it would have been a really, really interesting call. Gosh almighty, golly, there's just so many. When I first got here, and it's gonna tend probably to be backs because they kind of stand out. But Alex Hill at Hampton back in 1970, I think Mike Smith said he's the best back he ever coached. Hampton also had Robert Banks, played at Notre Dame, played it in the NFL. I was at a conference or something out in Kansas City, and this was Banks' senior year, and he was being recruited heavily. And Terry Donahue was the coach at UCLA, and that was one of the schools that Banks was considering. And Donahue found out that I was from down here, and every morning he'd come up to me and ask me, "Hear anything about Banks? Hear anything about Banks? Hear anything about Banks?" It's just, golly, it's just so many people. If I name 100, the 101st and 102nd are just going to be so aggravating. Percy Harvin, just an electric player. Aaron Sparrow, the quarterback at Wilson back, I think, in the 90s. And, when we finish this, I'm going to think of about 20 more.
You'll forget, no doubt. I mean, you could just go on the list of names. And I think what's really cool for us, too, this, Lynn, from covering it for as many years as you have, is the connections to people from the 757 that played or coached, or, the dots that you can connect from people. It's always incredible to the storytelling that we've all done, too, and you've gotten a chance to do that. And you've done that here incredibly well with this book. Get your copy of the Hampton Roads Football Encyclopedia, 385 pages, a wealth of information. Lynn will tell you how you can get your copy. And if you got a question or two, we got one sitting for us on IG, which we'll hit when we come back after break. We're going to hear quickly from a couple of our sponsors, such as Town Bank, Chicho's, and One Life Fitness. And back more with the longtime prep sports reporter for the Daily Press and historian, soon to be Hall of Famer, we declare, Lynn Burke, with us here on Cova Sports TV. You're watching 757 Sports.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there, because here you are more. One Life Fitness.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us, and the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
Welcome back to 757 Sports Talk. No, it's not in the pool. It's Hatfield and Young at the Plex, the Virginia Beach Sportsplex. Here are two guys that, even though they never shut up, they're always dropping pearls of wisdom. Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And we're back here on 757 Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe to Cova Sports TV and interact with us wherever you're tuning in, as we have a special guest with us for another segment, Lynn Burke, the author of the new Hampton Roads Football Encyclopedia, the history of high school football in southeastern Virginia from 1878 to 2024. And I'll tell you how you can get your copy at your fingertips with us here on Cova Sports TV in just a moment. But Lynn, one of our viewers on IG, Junie022, wants to know, it's something I actually asked you Thursday night. It's funny. What's the best game you've ever covered or seen? So go into if you've got a best game you've covered or seen, or wildest game you've ever. I'm sure there's more than one that leaped to mind for you.
I think this is the one I mentioned to you. It's 1974. Bethel's playing Woodbridge, I think, at Garfield High School for the AAA state championship. Woodbridge had a running back named Russell Davis who reached forward run for 400 yards or something like that in the semifinals. Everybody considered Bethel the underdog. And Bethel came out, Mike Dunn, the quarterback, threw a touchdown pass, probably with less than a minute to go, to Bruce Elliott to put them ahead, whatever the score was. Then Mike intercepted a pass right at the end of the game, and Bethel won the championship. And that was just an outstanding, eclectic game. Afterwards, when I was talking to Mike, he said, we're not the underdogs, we're the super dogs. And that was the headline in the story, and I think I mentioned that showed up on bumper stickers. The one funny story about that, too, because this is back when Woody Hayes coached Ohio State, and Ohio State recognized the talent down here. So the next Monday, Woody and one of his assistant coaches was at Bethel to talk to Mike Dunn. And at the start of the second half, Derwin Tucker, one of the running backs, had run the opening kickoff back 95 yards. And the Washington Post in its early edition had a huge picture of that. So here comes Hayes and whoever the assistant coach was into the office, and Derwin walks up to him, introduced himself, said, "Would you autograph this picture of me running this kickoff back 95 yards?" He didn't go to Ohio State. I think he went to Illinois.
Okay. Good deal. Hey, we mentioned it. If they want to get a copy, what's the best way to do so? Tell us the options for them. Will this be available in stores? It's just online, the price for it. And it's always a great, I'm sure, stocking stuffer or gift if you got a dad, a granddad, a cousin, a friend that likes football, especially if they're a high school football junkie. And there's a bunch of high school sports junkies out there. It's holiday season, so it's not a bad gift idea.
The only place you can get it is Amazon. I did a lot, because I self-published the book. I did a lot of research, and Amazon seemed to be the best. Basically, you provide them with the manuscript. They do everything else. They print it on demand. I did the cover myself from one of their templates. Right now, it's only available through Amazon. But as I said in a Facebook message, if you put Lynn Burke in, please put Lynn Burke Football or 757, because there's a lady named Lynn Burke who writes books that have some somewhat salacious titles. And as I said, it ain't me. But it's $25. And it says available on Amazon. I haven't even thought about any other place because Amazon is such a well-known place to get stuff. Amazon trucks drive our street every day.
Okay, so that was the Lynn Burke that Ed was talking to the other day. That lady was who he was talking to.
I'm waiting for her to send me one of her books too.
I'm sure you are.
No, you don't.
I want to make sure it's somebody else because I don't know about Lynn might have done something in a previous time and he doesn't want to take credit for that kind of book. So I only want to, if they have pictures in it, I just want to make sure you find his pictures. That's all.
I don't know.
Now this book is just, I'm going through it here, Lynn, still, but this is not a book with images. It's just complete black and white print, correct?
Correct. There's no images in it whatsoever. I had found a picture. I found a picture in the library at Norfolk several years ago of like the 1906 Norfolk high school football team, and they were the scrawniest bunch of kids you ever wanted to see. But I couldn't find the picture. So again, I decided just to go ahead and do a straight cover story. The The only picture is my face on the back cover.
Okay.
I can live with that.
You talked about earlier about the players from here. The years that I covered the ACC, North Carolina at Carter Finley Stadium for their games, they would dress their players locker number 1 around in '99. Well, Woodrow Wilson, the current Hampton coach, that one particular year was number 2, so he was right there. Right next to him was Kenny Perry, who played at Menchville. And if I cover a game there and I go in the locker room, I couldn't get in until they grabbed me and asked who won the high school games up here the night before. And then Simon Gupton, the great tackle from Hampton back in those days, he'd wander over too and 1-0. And there may have been a couple of others from this area, but they just escaped me.
No, it's funny you bring that up, Linda, because when I go different places, I go do the Old Dominion women's games, or I'm doing whatever it might be, a college game I'm calling. People always in the press room or wherever, they say, how about that game on Friday night with, Phoebus or Lansdowne or whatever school it is, Oscar Smith, fill in the blank, or even something outside the 757. There is an appetite and people love it. It's great water cooler talk, as we like to say when it comes to high school football. Now, you told me Thursday night that was your first game you've been at since your last one you covered at Daily Press. I won't get it wrong. When you said, was it 2015 Hampton Norview in the playoffs? Is that right?
Right. We, since Charlie and I got married in 2008, I'd lived on the other side in Chesapeake and now Virginia Beach. I just hadn't come over for a game. I lived really close before we moved to a little private school, Greenbrier Christian, plays 8-man football. I'd go down there and watch them, but I really had not been to a game. I'd watch them on Hampton Roads Media Network and stuff like that. But I was just amazed, back in my days, Darling Stadium by this time of the year, and Todd Stadium too, would have just been torn up because of all the football. And now with the artificial turf, they just, I think I used the word pristine. They really look good.
What do you make, and I'm sure Ed will piggyback on this with you here, what do you make of some of the advances, some of the differences that can be good or bad, just your view, your opinion of where the sport is? Because I know you still follow it fairly close, even though you're not at games all the time and interviewing players and covering it on a day-to-day basis. You're still it's in your blood. You have a love for it and a passion for it, and you enjoy it and watch it and interact with us even on the show. But what you saw from the game, A, with Hampton Warwick, and B, kind of how the sport has changed. You mentioned turf being new, and we've got it at so many different schools and stadiums like Darling and Todd on the peninsula, high schools like Taylor throughout the beach, and so on and so forth across the state. But football with the 6 classifications has kind of been the biggest change we've seen in the last 10, 15 years, right?
Yeah, all of a sudden, instead of the Peninsula District, the Eastern District, the Big Championship meaning something for playoff advancement, it doesn't really mean anything as long as you've got the power rating. Now, chances are, if you have the best record in the district, you're going to have a high enough power rating, but there's always that chance. The other thing that's really disappointing is to see the schools that no longer play football, or the turnout is down so far that they've dropped to 8-man football. Matthews has spurted a couple of times trying to start football back up, and they played 2 games this year, and because the numbers had to drop it, I just saw that Galax out in western part of Virginia, they dropped football. The smaller private schools around here have gone to 8-man, which is it's a fun game to watch, but the numbers are down.
Yeah, they are, and I think that's going to probably continue, unfortunately, in some parts of the state, which we're seeing more and more forfeits, Ed.
Yeah, and that was going to be one of my questions too, is if anybody has really seen changes over the years, I would be interested in see what Lynn thinks about changes, good, bad, different, indifferent, is it advances sport? Because that's kind of the name of the game, is so many changes. We look at the college level with transfer portal, NILs, and there's some places that are NIL deals in the high school. And, of course, the transfer portal in high school has always been there. We just kind of turned a deaf eye to it. Players changing so much.
We haven't, because you bring it up. You bring it up from time to time, so we don't turn it.
Well, I have to, because nobody else will. He's one of the guys that just wants to hush it.
That's why in my previews we always say so-and-so with a comma, transfer from such and such, and we just, we don't have to spend 3 hours on it or 3 paragraphs on it.
Speaking of books, I got the Blue Ribbon basketball book, and I was looking at it this week, Lynn, and what I've noticed about it, I'm not sure if you've seen it over the years, and it's one of the best for college basketball. But when you read the top 25 selection in there, and they go through each team, all their players, and I started reading about, who's coming from where, it's crazy now, right after their name, instead of hometown or whatever, it lists all the schools they're coming from. And
Yeah.
there's guys in there that this is their 5th college, or there's one guy in there because of injuries and medical redshirt. This is his 7th college. He's played 6 years of college basketball. And sometimes they'll put in there that he's played at 2 JUCOs. He was at a prep school. And I'm like, back in the day, you never saw that. You saw hometown, high school, and you might have 1 or 2 that played one other place. And for whatever reason, now they're this, but it's just a sign of the times. But, the question I wanted to get with Lynn is we were talking a lot about players. Being one, I got to ask, coaches over your time.
Oh, geez.
Who are some of the coaches that stood out to you for whatever reason? And not saying who's the best. I'm not going to put you on a spot. Who's the best coaches out there? No, coaches that just kind of, when I say the word to you, football, it comes to mind some guys that pop up for whatever reason, and you can even put the reasons in there.
Well, the first reason, of course, is Mike Smith. His first year as a head coach at Hampton was my first full year at the Daily Press. I came in the fall of 1970. It was the last year of the Hampton Newport News game, and Johnny Palmer was the coach at Hampton, and then he left to go back to his hometown at EC Glass. And Mike actually took the coaching job at Pembroke, but then when Palmer left, he got back over to Hampton and, of course, had a record. He's the 3rd winningest coach in the history of football, whatever level you want. Kozlowski at Bethel. Charlie Hovis at York, and then Tad. He was always just fun to be around. He'd laugh and joke and all that. Always got along well with Charlie Nuttycombe at Menchville. If I call him up and say, Coach, I want to come up and talk to you. This is before they had security in the schools. I could just walk up to his classroom. He'd give him some assignment to do the last period of the day, and he and I'd sit back in the back of the classroom and chat. And of course, you can't do anything like that now. But it was a different time. A guy that I really liked, old Pembroke High School, Howard Jackson. Howard was the dean of boys. We were in his office talking one day, and I was kind of behind his desk against the wall, and we're just having a good chat. And like I say, he was the dean of boys. He was a disciplinarian, and 3 kids came in. They'd been sent down, and he turned around and just ripped them a new one. Oh, it was the paint came off the walls. Then he turned around, looked at me, and put this big wide grin on his face, and his eyes went wide. Turned around and yelled at him again. And I thought I was going to fall over laughing, but I knew I couldn't because that would just ruin the moment.
Sure. Well, before we let you run here, Lynn, and we thank you so much for coming on, and we look forward to chatting with you more about how the book is doing and the sales with it. And again, get your copy on Amazon, $25. I mean, you're basically playing like, was that 2 cents a page? I don't know the math on my head, but it's a pretty good deal for all that you have available for you. Ed is now back on the sidelines after the 1 year hiatus of driving me crazy to where I was starting to go bald. And you know what that's like. But any sound advice you can provide Ed about now taking over the Smithfield Packers as he is embarking on a challenge to now go seek 600 plus wins after getting his 500 victories?
He has been out of it for a year, so he has a lot of pent up energy. Who's the athletic director over there? Pat Doolin? Is that who the athletic director is?
Pat Doolin, yes.
I would advise Pat to buy a seatbelt and put it around Ed, because he's going to be so hyper and so amped up at games. Doesn't want the referees on him too much.
Yeah, this is true.
I think the better question, Matt, for Lynn would be, what do the people of Smithfield need to do to get ready for Ed Young?
Well, that.
Enjoy.
You said enjoy?
Nothing about any of the other coaches they've had, but enjoy having a real professional teaching their kids. I know I'm saying nice things about you, Ed, and that
Yeah,
you don't have to.
Well, one thing I want to know is what's your over/under on number of technicals he gets issued during this season coming up?
Well, I don't have anything to base it by, so I don't know. I'll say 4.
4? Oh wow! I thought you were going to say 2.5, and that would put, you got to make a pick. You go 4. Oh man!
I just picking a number out.
Okay.
Some referee's going to call a block when Ed thought it should have been a charge or a goaltend when it wasn't, and
that's going to definitely happen. Well, the last time he got teed up was against our good friend, the late great Ben Moore, when he told an official about moving the chair, and Ed decided to give him his. Is that your last technical you got, Ed, or have you gotten one since then?
I'm not. I remember that technical vividly, but I don't think I don't think I have got that. That was just
Wow.
That wasn't deserved.
No, you deserved some you didn't get, but that one wasn't. I
Right.
actually agree with you on that one. Yeah.
Way back in my high school days, back in the 60s, our coach, referee at one of the games he had played college basketball at one of the Division III schools in Ohio. One of the officials of the game was one of his college teammates. He made a bad call against our team, and as the guy's running past the bench, our coach rather profanely said, "You weren't any good in college, and you're not a good ref either." And
That's something Ed has said to some people before.
I could see myself saying that. I really could.
Yeah.
Lynn, I'm much calmer over the last few years. Since you retired, I'm much calmer to sideline. I'm yes, sir, no, sir. Ask him how his garden's growing, how's things going with the vehicle, everything cool with the wife, or if they're not married, a girlfriend.
Yeah.
then I'm going to, based on that, I'm going to reduce my prediction to 1.
1.
I like
Okay, you
that.
shrunk it from 4 to 1. I thought you'd say 3 at that point, but okay.
And it'll probably be by a rookie official who doesn't really know how my mind ticks. The veterans already know me. They don't. A lot of them just ignore me, and I don't cuss, and I don't do the stomping like I used to. So they just say, he's animated, he's into it, he's passionate. As long as he don't cuss or whatever, we let him go, and he's not in the middle of the court. So
Well, and I also know that you're a famous for how you dress at games. Have you gone out and been fitted for blue and gold suits?
Oh, that's a good question.
I already have the blue. I don't even know if it fits because this knucklehead over here somehow got me to have to buy a new blue suit on a previous bet with at Norview. I think was one of my former
Jonathan
players.
Wilson, who's now the football coach at Granby. Yeah, you lost that wager with him.
And I wore the blue suit.
Yeah.
First time I wore the blue suit was against Ben Moore because Ben was like,
well, that might have been why you got the T. Was it that night or was it different? That was a different night.
no, that was a different night. That was a different night.
Maybe that guy was seeing you up for the blue suit. He didn't like it. Didn't look good on you.
So Ed, if I send you a copy of the book, will you give me free admission to one of your games?
Lynn, I've told you forever and ever. I got a seat right next to me. You can have that at any time.
No.
Right there. You can even, like he does, give me, hey man, you should be in the zone. What the heck are you doing? How did they hire you? Stuff that he says to me. So anytime you're more than welcome. December 4th is our first home game. I would love to have the people that have backed me in the past to be there for my first home game against at Smithville.
I won't sit beside you. I'll be at the top of the bleachers so you can't tell who's yelling.
Yeah, that's right. But I told us to Lynn too the other night. He ended up paying admission. Darling, I said you should be getting like a lifetime achievement award and a pass. You shouldn't be paying to go to the games. Now even though you're not technically covered as
Well,
I would never do that. Of course, Ed and me are too cheap. So
The good thing about it is being as old as I am, senior citizens get in for Darling Stadium for $3 plus a $1 service charge.
oh, there you go. It's like the discounts you get like at the restaurants and places. There you go.
Yeah. Before we go, one last funny thing.
Sure.
Once publicity came out on the book, Justin Vias, the athletic director at Hampton, he puts on Facebook, some of y'all are going to find out you weren't as good as you thought you were.
This is true. Those stories, because I'm telling you what's funny. You encounter people all the time that talk about, oh yeah, I played for such and such, and I had 8 sacks against this team, or I had 3 touchdowns, and I was all district, all region, all state. Then you come to find out after you do research, and you've encountered this, Ed, Lynn, as have I, with coaches, even guys like Ed Young that will report, hey, my guy had 26 points and 12 rebounds, and you say it was really like 22 points and 8 rebounds, whatever it might be. But the embellishment of statistics, which is, I think, commonplace all across the state. Anybody that says they don't do it, it's the most bogus thing we've encountered, Kevin, to keep statistics. But I get it. Some coaches do it for the benefit of trying to make their kids look even better than what they are. But so I'm not trying to crap on them all, if you will. But it happens everywhere. There's no doubt about it. But this is a great data check, if you will, and research check, and get your copy. It's available on Amazon. The Hampton Roads Football Encyclopedia, put together by Lynn Burke, the one and only. Always a pleasure, my friend. Great to chat with you, and thank you for doing this and coming on with us.
This is the first time I think I've been on with you guys since you've been in this format.
Yeah, from radio to podcast. As he was an occasional fill-in for you on the radio side of things, Ed. So you owe him at least 7 or 8, I think, meals somewhere for all those fill-ins.
I also had to fill in one morning when you were stuck in traffic, Matt. And I had to open the show, say, this isn't Matt, this isn't Ed, this is me.
That's right. He did do that once or twice. A couple of times we had assignments and fill-ins, yeah.
And it was one of our highest rated shows ever with neither one of us on.
It probably was.
But when I left, the station manager had a note on my car, said never again.
Probably true. Hey, Lynn, you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'm sure we'll catch up again soon.
We certainly will. Good to talk to you guys as always. And Ed, good luck.
Thanks, Lynn. I appreciate it. And when you get that Hall of Fame call, no matter where it is, this guy and we're going to make sure we take you out to the best steak place, man. You and your wife both, wherever you want to go. You two want to go.
Forgot somebody. You owe Lynn, Charlotte, and Willie Gauze a steak. The new basketball
Willie can come too
because you have not paid up your steak bet with Willie from beating him in overtime a few years ago. So.
Where's Willie now? I remember seeing that he's back.
Yeah, he left Kickinton, and he actually coached at Warwick before that, but he's now the new basketball coach at Phoebus, and he is reminded, as have I, that he still is owed a steak by Ed, who has not paid that up yet. So,
well, good. Guys, good to talk to you. Good to talk to you guys as always. And good luck.
That is the one and only Lynn Burke with us here, longtime sports reporter for the Daily Press, and now the author of the Hampton Roads Football Encyclopedia. Nearly 400 pages of just tons and tons of information. We're going to take a time out. We've got more coming your way, including more high school football chatter with you right here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe, and interact with us.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
Portco is your local nonprofit organization dedicated to economic empowerment through employment for people with disabilities. We focus on abilities, not limitations, providing on-the-job vocational support. Find your pathway to employment. Contact us or learn more at portco.org.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
All right, I'm here with Maury head football coach Dyrri McCain after his team's 42-14 win over Lake Taylor on the road as they move the record to 7-1 overall. Coach, tied up at the break, tied up early in the third quarter. Your team finishes up with 28 unanswered. Not a lot of smiles and happiness in this game. Is this one where you know you have a lot of things to clean up on and you left some opportunities out there to make it a bigger margin?
Yeah, I just think that first half of football, I mean, can't put the ball on the floor. Then we put on the floor 2 or 3 times. Didn't get in the end zone in the first drive after having some good plays. We just did a terrible job executing in the first half. I think our team understood that. So not just, coaches understanding that and going at the kids. I think, those guys realized it, and they talked amongst each other at half, and they talking amongst each other now. So, again, we got some good signs of a good team. And we're a championship program, we're a championship team, but so are they. And for all the talk of everybody talking about Lake Taylor and whatever over these past years, again, I always say, man, those teams and those guys have championship pedigree. Hank has been doing it forever. Okay, you got teams like, the Holland Springs and the Phoebuses and those guys, like those teams aren't going anywhere. And you're a fool if you think so. And we know that about them. They're going to do what they do well. We did not do a good job of executing in the first half. That's just plain and simple.
Sure, we'll get to the positives that you had in the second half in a moment, including Tayshawn Branch, Matt Williams, and others for you. And the freshman, by the way, who's put his name on the scene, Tawan Pear. He's a guy, no doubt about it. The most discouraging part, the sloppiness with the penalties, 29 combined in this game, 15 for $151 from your group. That's the thing you got to really hone in on the most.
Yeah, I mean, that's not winning football. That's not going to win in November, and that's not going to win in December. And the teams that we have that won it, we did pretty well with that. the teams that didn't win it, whether we were in a state championship or whether state semis, didn't get it done. So, like I said, man, these guys understand our experience as coaches. So when we tell them what it is and what we need to get better at, these guys are going to listen, just the experience of us as coaches. So, it's this group's time to take what we learned today and be able to apply it tomorrow in film and then moving forward next week.
I mentioned the freshman number 12, Mr. Pear. He gets 2 interceptions for you. Had about 8 tackles, I think it was. I charted and used him a little bit on offense too. It's a guy that's now starting to show he's going to be incorporated a good deal, and he's got a bright future ahead, right? Yeah, man. I think that he's the best freshman in the 757. I mean, I'm not sure about who was around the state, so I want to be careful with my words. Sure. I mean, if I'm being biased, I'm saying I think he's the best freshman in the state. Right. If I'm being biased, but definitely for sure, I could definitely stand on the table and say that he's the best freshman in the area. He's gonna be great for us, and he's a hard worker, man. Very coachable kid, has super talent. Sky's the limit for him, man. If he continue to work hard and stay grounded, I think he'll be fine. I mentioned Matt Williams, who last year had 2 picks in this game. I think 2 pick sixes in this game against Lake Taylor. He has tonight 4 catches for 91 yards and a score. Also throws a touchdown pass. A little razzle-dazzle, which you're no stranger to. Little end-around pass to your sophomore quarterback in Damo Everett, playing in front of his older brother tonight, Dalen, who's a star for Georgia. You've got some trickery, and you've got multiple guys that can throw it and catch it. Yeah, man, I think that for us offensively, we've done a good job of using our personnel well, man. I mean, Tayshawn Branch can throw the ball also that people, don't know. So just being able to just use personnel, man, and in different ways. If you could play quarterback, we're going to find some stuff for you. If you could play running back, we're going to find stuff for you. I just think we've done a great job over these past years of just using our personnel. Final 2, Branch runs for 205 yards and 2 touchdowns tonight, and it feels like it's a really good performance, but he's still scratching the surface and hasn't quite cracked that dominant level, which might be coming come November or December. Yeah, I think that time is going to come. He's still trying to get better. He's a guy for us, and he's a guy. I mean, everybody in the stands know he's a guy, but he still needs to get better at some things, just like everybody else. But bona fide, I mean, he's definitely one of the best backs in the state, no question. Lastly, is the biggest challenge for these last few weeks before the playoffs to kind of mix and match? I know you have one of your receivers, Javon Wiggins, who was out tonight, the William & Mary commit. One of your offensive linemen went down, and you've had to play more guys both sides of the ball. Is that the thing for you and your staff to kind of mix and match here, try to get as healthy as possible for the playoff run? So, yeah, no, I mean, I just think that we've just been used to being able to play with maybe non-starting lineups at times. I mean, over the past years, I mean, you think of like last year and playing, that front end of that schedule and even the back end of the schedule and guys being in and out of the lineup. We've done a good job of developing guys, and it's always been next man up. So, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say like we're being careful to make sure we keep guys healthy. No, like we understand playoff football is going to be physical. We're going to take nicks and knacks. We just got to make sure that we have our 2 and 3 guy ready. We're not an excuse team. People tried to give us that. What was that, 3 years ago with Peyton and Kendall? You never heard one come out of my mouth with the excuse. Booger Knox too. Yeah. Nathaniel Knox. So like, it is what it is. The next guy got to be ready to play, and we're going out there to win. If it doesn't go our way, we're not just going to cop out with the excuse, because I feel like it's disrespect to the player that's stepping in when we do that. So we're just trying to keep playing how we're playing and obviously get better. Thank you so much. Congrats on the win. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And we're back here with you on 757 Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe to Cove Sports TV. You heard from Coach Dyrri McCain. Before we finish up the scores, Ed, and then do our NFL picks, we also have to have you do your 10-minute burning topic today, which we forgot about that too before we sign off on this special Saturday afternoon edition of 757 Sports Talk. What'd you make of what Coach McCain had to say after a 42-14 win, which at first sounded like he lost or his puppy was stolen, and didn't really love how they performed? Finished up strong. He's not going to panic. He's got a very calm, even-keeled demeanor, and it was a neat game. I think you You walk out of that game and you have great respect for both programs. Lake Taylor to fight their tails off for 2.5 quarters. And I said this to people, they have a chance to play for a state championship in Class 3. I don't think people quite realize that after going 3-7 last year, and Coach Sawyer has 3 rings. He's been in the finals, 6 times. And in Maury's case, Dyrri McCain, the much younger coach, but he's become now a savvy veteran in a lot of ways. He's got 3 rings, been to the title game, I think, 5 times. Might get himself a 4th ring. They're the favorite, odds-on favorite to now three-peat in Class 5, arguably as fierce a classification as there is. And, oh, by the way, when you got a freshman stepping up, the future's going to stay bright for you too.
Yeah, I think personnel-wise, he's going to be set for a while. The interview, I could tell he was not happy with that first half until you kind of switched it up to go into the good stuff in the second half and more of the players. He kind of loosened up on the interview and remembered. And of course, as coaches, it's probably one of the biggest things, one of our biggest downfalls. We hang on to the negative stuff too long, emphasize the negative stuff too long, where kids, it rolls off their back by the time they change uniform. But I can understand where he's coming from because he knows his team better than anybody else. You would think a coach that wins 42-14 would talk very little about anything bad because they really picked it up. But he, gives great respect to Lake Taylor and Hank Sawyer, which is due him because they are good. They're number one in their own right in 3A, where they have the possibility of moving on pretty deep too. That you don't want to play bad football against somebody like that because you may not get a chance the next time to come out ahead of it. So I'm sure he'll address that very emphatically on Monday's practice. That's how I look at that interview. I could tell he was really distracted by their first half play.
So let me ask you this crazy question. Who has a better chance to make the state finals? Maury or Lake Taylor? That seems like people will say, oh, Matt, that's a crazy question. It's obviously Maury. But you can make a really compelling case that the path for Maury is more challenging or difficult than the path for Lake Taylor, given that if you look at the regions that they're in, just the regions alone, Ed, Lake Taylor's region, these are your 2, 3, and 4 seeds. You ready? Petersburg, 6-2. New Kent, 5-3. Tab, 6-2. And your 5 and 6 seeds are Norcom and Hopewell, both 3-5. As for Maury's region, not even getting into 5A, 5C, 5D with the likes of Green Run and Indian River and Highland Springs and Hermitage and Stonebridge and Riverbend. But 2 seeds, Kings Fork, 7-1. Nansemond River, the 3 seed, 6-2. And Warwick, the 4 seed at 6-3. Oh, by the way, Bethel, the 5 seed at 5-3 with the area's leading rusher, Amari Pryor, and a UVA commit in Derek Fisher. And they're not a cupcake. So it does feel like the teams in Class 5 and Maury's path could pose more of a threat than the teams that Lake Taylor might not see. Now, in the state finals, if they both got to the state finals, Lake Taylor probably has a bigger giant, whether that's Liberty Christian, Heritage of Lynchburg, Lord Botetourt, Magna Vista, whoever it is, then dare we say Maury's, although Maury's, if they got there, could be someone as good as, say, a Highland Springs. So pick your poison, right?
Yeah, it's apples and oranges when you say who has a greater chance because you got to beat the people that are in your division. Like Taylor doesn't have to worry about 5A. Maury doesn't worry about 3A. On paper, I would say Lake Taylor has it a little bit easier. But on paper, I don't think Lake Taylor is as strong as Maury in terms of depth and all that. So how far is that going to take you? Maury is built for this level, championship level. We often talk about him being pretty much too deep at every position. A couple of positions could be 3. There's my dog on his guard duty.
I think the dog wants to share his input on this.
I might have said something. Is Georgia losing his team? He went in there and looked at the TV. Got to see one of the dogs.
We'll give you an update on Georgia, who's off this weekend, I believe, because we saw Dalen Everett, who I brought up in the interview, older brother of Damo. I don't think he'd have been there last night if he had a game today. So I don't think they're playing, to answer your question there. I don't think they're playing. I could be wrong. Let me just double check that before I say something that I shouldn't say or say something incorrectly. They play Florida next week. I can tell you, as there's a holding penalty on UNC with 26 seconds to go in regulation, the Tar Heels and the Wahoos are deadlocked at 10. There's been no scoring, I don't think, in the second half. Georgia doesn't play again until November 1st against the Gators in that rivalry matchup. So that's the next game for Georgia. But
hey, how about update on Kickintan Menchville? Anybody out there can give us an update on
I can give you the update. Kickintan won 14-7. So Ed Young gains a game back on me, which means we're now deadlocked. I thank you, Norcom. I thank you, Denby, for taking care of business. Taking care of business every day. Taking care of business.
Okay, we're trying to get viewers, not lose them.
I'm doing my Michael McDonald for you. But I cannot thank Menchville, who let me down today, the Monarchs. Speaking of the Monarchs, how are the Old Dominion Monarchs doing right now? Coming off a couple of tough losses, tough to digest losses. App State not App State, Marshall on the road, and at JMU, who you said they were going to beat. And they were looking good early in that game, and they didn't finish up good. So everybody's blaming you in Monarch Nation. They're up 24-7 now on App State in the fourth quarter over at SB Ballard Stadium, Cornblau Field. So the Monarchs in good shape to get the W and move to 5-3 on the campaign before next week's trip to UL Monroe. Let's finish up the scores, shall we? We've covered.
Yeah, we haven't got that chance to do it. We left off. We did.
You cut out. Go ahead. Try it again. Whatever you said.
We did Peninsula. We did Eastern. So we'll go Southeastern.
All right. Well, you have them at your fingertips and supposed to give us what happened in the SED, where Oscar Smith went to Suffolk and they were deadlocked with Nansemond River. It was a tough tussle with the Warriors. In fact, such a tough tussle that it was 21-all with 35 seconds to go in the second quarter, and it stayed that way until Oscar Smith broke the tie with 5:33 to go in the third, and they would not get caught again.
No, Smith ends up with a 35-21 win at Nansemond, which we both kind of thought would happen. Was close game, which we also thought would be. And both of those teams, of course, Smith's a 6, and they're number 1 at it. And Nansemond River, I think you had Nansemond River as a 4, but are they now, because of today's action, a 3?
They are, you mean the power ratings or the rankings?
Yes,
they are presently a 3 seed, just a sliver ahead of Warwick.
So that flipped.
That did flip, yes. They did not get as damaged with their losses as, by the way, they're going to overtime in Chapel Hill with UNC and UVA. But multiple interceptions from Jaden Koval. Reginald Wallace finds the end zone. And Travis Johnson, who was sidelined for a few games, he was back in business and having touchdown catches from Lonnie Andrews III, the other UVA commit as a junior quarterback for Oscar Smith. Looking good to be the top dog in the Southeastern, top dog in Region 6A, and perhaps win another state championship for Chris Scott and company. What else happened in the SCD? And by the way, there's a team that has lost a couple games, but I'm gonna give them some props here in a moment because of their offense right now. Go ahead, tell us what else happened in the SCD.
Well, pretty much everything went according to plan except the Deep Creek Great Bridge game. Real close, 34-33 Deep Creek.
You know, Great Bridge, the last 3 games since starting this season 0-5, has scored 123 points, 41 in contests. Now, it was against Grassville, Western Branch, and Deep Creek, and they have Oscar Smith next week. Good luck keeping that pace going. Finish up at Lakeland. But Joey Wood, the first-year head coach, with Will Englert at quarterback and Alonzo Duncantel catching the ball, I like what he's doing over there. I really do. He's got them organized. He, saw one of his better players transfer out in the offseason. But I think Great Bridge I'm gonna say publicly, I think they got the right guy there. He's an alum. I like what he's doing there. In Deep Creek, Andre Twine, he does it every year. Remember last year's a 7 seed, knocked off Cox, the 2 seed. He gets this win. It's not impressive. His defense has been a little leaky, but he's got Mike Jones, not the ODU coach Mike Jones, but he's got Mike Jones running the ball, catching it. Yeah. What'd you say?
It's an old adage. Like when somebody else says the name Mike Jones from a rap song, you're supposed to say who, and then you say Mike Jones.
I said Mike Jones. That's what I said. Who? No, I know. But they were, remember a couple years ago, as an 8 seed, gave Green Run a scare. If they get that 8 seed in 5A, look out. You have the power ratings, don't you, for 5A, which we'll get to in a little bit here. But so Deep Creek gets the W. What about the Western Branch Bruins? They got a W too, right?
52-6 over Grassfield. They put some points on the board, maybe let out some frustrations in that game. And the other 2 games also, score-wise, just wasn't good to look at. Indian River 57-0 over Lakeland. Kings Fork 39-17 over Hickory.
Yeah, and Southeastern District, big one coming up on Thursday, Ed. Kings Fork and Indian River in Chesapeake. What's your early view of that game?
You say that's a Thursday night game?
They've moved a lot of games that were supposed to be for Friday to Thursday because of Halloween. The Beach and Southeastern are exclusively playing, yes, on Thursday night, as is the massive Highland Springs Verona game. So where does Matt Hatfield go on Thursday, Ed? Does he go and see Indian River Kings Fork? Does he go and see Highland Springs Verona? Does he go and see Kempsville Kellam, which we'll get to the Beach in a moment? Where does he go? Because there might not be much of anything happening on Friday that's worth a nickel unless I make that jaunt out to Lynchburg for LCA and Heritage, which that's a great game in the Seminole. I'm going to watch that some way, somehow. I really want to be there. I might be there too. It's a great game, but most of your better games are going to be on Thursday because the teams don't want to play on Halloween. The kiddies, it's, why are you shaking your head? I didn't make the call. They did. You go scream at them. Go scream at all your bosses.
You're telling me all these schools moved the game from Friday night to Thursday.
Call them.
Because of Halloween.
Get on the blower if you think I'm making this up. Get on the blower. Get on the blower. I didn't make that call. Virginia Beach and Chesapeake did. And I think Norfolk might have too for that matter. But I know Virginia Beach Chesapeake did.
Things never cease to amaze me.
Well, I mean, it's like a national holiday now. I told you, Halloween, you hate it. You shake your head. It disgusts you for no end. You're going to have eggs thrown at your house and toilet paper on your trees.
Unbelievable.
Why are you such a Scrooge?
I'm not Scrooge. I'm just saying I'd be highly upset as a coach. Friday night's good Friday night football. No school the next day. It's the end of the week. Now they got to go play Thursday when they don't really have to, because I know some games are scheduled already on Thursday,
right?
For various reasons, and then get up to go to school Friday. But anyways, that has neither here nor there.
Because if they're at a football game, they can't hand out candy or go trick or treating.
It's called go to the next house.
Well, if they're all at the football game, there's no houses.
There'll be enough people there. Kids don't need the candy anyways.
Why? Rots their teeth?
No, well, that and the fact they're too over HDDD already. So,
Whoa, HDDD? You mean ADHD and ADD?
Throw some more letters in there with some kids I've seen. And I'm surprised you're even thinking about a game. I'm figuring you would say, oh my God, what should I do? I got to go trick-or-treating.
Who, me? No, well, the one deflating part, football, see what I did there, deflating, is that I have to now record DVR my Law and Order shows, so I got to watch them later instead of watch them live. I'm at the football game. But now if I'm home, I could do the trick-or-treating, although it's going to be hard to trick-or-treat and watch LCA Heritage at the same time. So I got a decision to make. I got a dilemma. I don't know what I'm going to do. We've covered the SCD, which, again, that's a big game. You did all this and shook your head. You didn't give me any input on Kings Fork, Indian River. What do you think? I mean, it's a toss-up game. It's a coin flip game. You're going to tell me whoever plays better wins the game. But I want some insight from you, Michael Jordan. Give me insights with Coach Young on who wins this game and why.
Where's the game at?
Game is at Indian River.
Oof. I'm leaning towards Kings Fork. But
what's your reasoning?
I just think overall, from what I'm seeing during the year, I think they're just a little bit better overall team.
How come?
I just they can score. They score obviously multiple ways. I think, and my mind wants to go to special teams, but I'm not observant enough for these two teams to see what will happen in special teams, because I do believe it's a close game. I do believe it could be a one-score win. The differential at the end of the game will be one touchdown. Don't think it's a blowout. If it's high scoring, it's going to be both teams. You're not going to see 41-12. I don't think you'll see that.
No, I don't think so. Remember, they played last year. Was it last year or year before? They played a double overtime game.
Yeah, I think this is a one-score game. And I think even though Kings Fork is on the road, they'll be focused for this because they do know if they put it on the ground, as Coach McCain said, you can against a good team, you're signing your own death warrant because they're going to score. Good turn to turnovers into points.
It was last year, 33-7 in favor of Kings Fork. 2 years ago, 2 years ago, double overtime win for Kings Fork, 20-14 after beating Nansman in double overtime. That was during Kings Fork's undefeated regular season that they enjoyed. So, and you're right on about the points because so far the scoring indicates to us that Kings Fork's at 41.6 points per game to 39.8 PPG for Indian River. All right, let's move on over to what's left. We got the Beach and the Bay Rivers. Is that left?
I think we do, and we will go Beach because we mentioned something earlier.
Yes.
First of all, it was Green Run, 61-0 over First Colonial. No surprise there. Kempsville 43-3 over Tallwood. No surprise there. Lansdowne 28-10 over Ocean Lakes. I think we both had Lansdowne taking care of business. Cox 10-0 over Salem. I had Salem.
That's a surprise.
That was a little bit of a surprise, though. Not like unbelievable surprise. I think Cox good enough to beat us and shut them out. And then the one that I definitely screwed up on, I didn't really see Kellum coming out. They beat Bayside 24-21 in a close one. So
yeah, that was a game that had 3 touchdowns in the last 3 minutes of play, Edward. And Aaron Smith, who was watching us earlier on IG, he's probably not watching us now, but what a performance he's having. Touchdown catch, big kickoff return, and he seals the victory with an interception on the final play. Bayside, after Smith's 15-yard touchdown pass from Mason Roach, goes 80 yards in 37 seconds to go back in front. They were in front for much of this game. I think had to lead at the half with a Cam Kirby touchdown pass to Breonna Hardnett. And then Smith has the kick return, and it's Cameron Midkiff with a touchdown catch 9 yards out to give Kellum the lead back. So they end up getting this win. It's a huge win for Brian Easton Company. They pretty much punched their playoff ticket, and they have Kempsville coming up on Thursday. Curious to see how they do against that Kempsville physicality and running game, and they're throwing the ball pretty well here lately with Josh Hawley, the Hampton U commit. They've been running it great all year long with Robert Hughes Jr. That line's been working hard, and that defense with Jason Galloway making tackles, Jalen Batty getting picks and blocking field goals, doing a wonderful job. But how about the Cox defense? So Tyree Jeffries runs for 153 yards. They have a season high 256 yards rushing on that Salem defense. But second shutout in a row for Cox, which had trouble a few weeks ago with Ocean Lakes. It's the first time Salem has been shut out since you got to go back to 2018 when Ocean Lakes was blanked 9-0. So takeaways for me, the Cox defense, Tyler Noe's defense, headed up by coordinator Brian Graham. They're doing an awesome job after some early struggles. And then Kellum with Aaron Smith, he is a game changer for Kellum. They've been known to run the ball over the years, but he's now a wide receiver. They can move him around. He is a problem for defenses. So those are two things to watch out for as Kellum and Cox have to feel pretty good about how they've been playing lately. And, oh, by the way, even beyond these games for them, Cox plays Kempsville November 7th. Kellum has Lansdowne to close out the year. If Kellum was to get this game, 4-game winning streak potentially, and things are changing up in the Beach a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting as we go down the home stretch as to, teams that really are peaking at the right time. Some teams are kind of level, so to speak. They still need to play their best effort game. And, of course, there's some teams that maybe peak too early, which can obviously be a problem, especially if you're a playoff-bound team. You kind of have to refine your mojo again when it comes to playoff time. But Cox, Kellum, too, we've always said, definitely Cox, a tough team to play. They don't make a lot of mistakes. You're not going to score in the 50s and 60s against them, if even the 30s and 40s. And that shutout was a little bit of surprise, and you made it definite by saying it's been the first one in, years?
Yes, so I want to go back to something the kicker told us last week. Remember we had on the Army commit, Bryson Woodhelm. He said we're healthier than we've been. They had not been healthy in recent years at the end of the season. They got upset, if you remember, by Kempsville, crazy field goal play at the end. They got knocked off last year by Deep Creek. So maybe they're peaking at the right time as opposed to the last couple of years when they thought they were. They really weren't. And this could do some real benefit for them as the postseason arrives. And, so now Region 5A, let's get to it now since we talked about it. So Green Run's got the 1 seed pretty much.
Hold it.
Well, hold on.
Let's eliminate these scores, Bay Rivers, and then we go into the rankings.
Well, those teams are in the 5A, but go right ahead. It's fine.
Yeah, let's do that just to get them out of the way. Bay Rivers, we already talked about Lafayette 52-0 over York. Smithfield 42-30. Jamestown 49 over Gloucester. Bruton 26-13. And probably the game in the Bay Rivers, War Hill 13-12 over New.
Yeah, War Hill had to win this one with their defense. They've been winning it lately with offense, with Carson Strickland throwing the ball. Brayton turns as a running back receiver weapon for them. Keep in mind, they've been averaging in the last 5 games over 43 points per ball game. So they do it with some defense in this matchup with New Kent, kind of a knee buckler, if you will, down the stretch. Smithfield's the defense a little concerned, but I love what they're doing in the running game. Tracy Parker's got the ground game going to complement Kyle Buggs at quarterback. James Jones has been running the football really well for them. They've got multiple ground options for Smithfield. I think that makes them a sneaky team in the playoffs. Right now, as we mentioned in 4A, it'd be a 3-6 matchup of Smithfield and War Hill in the first round. Lafayette's quietly going about their business. I know they beat York on Thursday night, but I'm curious to see what Lafayette looks like. They have a Thursday game coming up after the bye week. They play Tab on November 6th. That's a real pivotal game for both of those teams, I think, before the playoffs. Tab to show if they can really, hang with a Lake Taylor or somebody in Region 3A, and in Lafayette trying to show that they can flex their muscles come postseason time if they run into, say, Phoebus and Hampton and get out of this region potentially in 4A from Hampton Roads. So Bay Rivers, nothing earth-shattering, but you like some teams lurking behind the heavy favorites to make, deep regional runs or state playoff runs. Pocosin in Class 2, Lafayette in Class 4 to be playing Thanksgiving weekend. War Hill, Smithfield, Tab, they're capable enough to give someone a scare, and they can win a playoff game perhaps. All of them, and dare we say, be a thorn in the side of somebody.
Oh, that's the key. A, you got to get into playoffs. B, then you got to win that first one. If Smithfield were to play War Hill in the first round, being familiar with them, they already have a win over them. Now, is that a positive or is that a negative? Or they get a little, we beat them before?
Well, let me get to that now for 5A, because I think that matters. But you just said it's a great point, because you talked about last week, one of your concerns with Hampton Warwick was the psychological effect for Hampton coming off the big win over Phoebus. It didn't seem to – well, it did early. They were down 14-0 against Warwick. They responded and got it together. So you have that rematch lurking. In 5A, you're probably going to get some type of rematch because you have so many beach teams. Green Run's the 1 seed. Indian River's looking good to be the 2 seed, although if Indian River stubs its toe against Kings Fork and – say Cox, Kempsville, one of them wins out, it's, the numbers will be close there. We'll see what happens to the end of that. If they end up 8-2 in the 2, we thought we might have a 3-way tie in the beach at 8-2 with the likes of Kempsville, Salem, and Bayside. You might have a situation where Salem and Bayside trying to fight their way to get to 7-3. They're both 5-3 now. They've slipped to 5-6 in the seeding. And Cox, Kempsville, they still got to play each other. They're both 6-2, so there won't be a 3-way tie with beach schools because Cox and Kempsville still got to play. So only one of them can finish as well as 8-2. A little more parity with what Kellum has done now, and Kellum's the 7 seed. So right now your matchups would be Green Run, the 1, hosting Deep Creek, the 8, who's just ahead of Hickory. That win head-to-head was big. We go to the Southeastern, we see what's left. Deep Creek's got to go to Western Branch. They host Grassfield. So you feel pretty comfortable if you're Andre Twine, although the Western Branch game is kind of like an elimination game for you. Hickory, meanwhile, has at Grassfield, host Indian River. So you look at that scenario, and it feels like if they both go 1-1, Deep Creek's going to probably stay ahead. Might depend on the out-of-district game for each. Deep Creek lost to Currituck. Hickory beat Manor. So it's going to be a good battle to the end there to see how that plays out the last 2 weeks of the year. Meanwhile, you'd have 7-2 Kellum at Indian River, 6-3 Bayside at Cox, a rematch. 4-5 Kempsville Salem, a rematch. You go back to what happened earlier this year. Kempsville had a lead, double-digit lead, lost to Salem 24-17 back on August 28th. Cox lost to Bayside 27-13. So in each case, the lower seed team at the moment, 6 Bayside beat a 3 Cox, 5 Salem beat a 4 Kempsville. It was so early and long ago, though, does it matter? That's my question to you.
Yeah, I think especially in this scenario, it doesn't matter because they're so familiar with each other. sometimes you get in the playoffs, you think about playing teams that are not from your district. In this case, they're playing teams from their district, and they've already played them. So now you start to wonder, well, they beat them, so they have the advantage. Yeah, you think so, but when these games are close and you are familiar, that's not always true. It's nice to have the win because the win puts you in that spot in the playoff. But are you going to still be hungry enough to beat them? Is there going to be something that you didn't see in the previous game that now you have to guard against in this game? Players' mentality. Sometimes players, hey, we beat them before. Now they're talking about who their second-round opponent is. Coach don't want to hear that mess. You got to take care of business now because if we lose now in the playoffs, we're done. You don't have another chance. So I think in this case, this scenario here, they're so familiar with each other.
And even War Hill Smithfield, which was back on September 19th, when Smithfield won 32-29. All three of those games were decided by 14 points or less. They were close enough that they could go either way in a sense. So I don't think there's a, overconfident edge for any of them. All right, so that covers the scores. We're going to take a timeout. And before we do the NFL picks to close out the show, we have the 10-minute burning topic with Ed Young reacting to what somebody else had to say. Oh, and it was some good sound, folks. You don't want to miss it. It's all coming your way here in just a little bit on Cova Sports TV and 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Saturday afternoon Sports Talk.
Did you know that the minimum limits in Virginia are $30,000? $30,000 is a lot of money on an individual basis, but if you're involved in a personal injury matter, that's not enough. Here at Williams-Deloitte, we're happy to provide a consultation on the amount of coverage you have in your vehicle. It can be confusing. Not many people understand it. You know you need to have it, but do you have enough? Give us a call today at 757-547-5555 so we can help you prepare in the case of an automobile accident or any other personal injury matter that you or your family may find yourself in.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why there's CHKD Sports Medicine. Advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries, just for young athletes like yours.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever! The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Bacon cheeseburger, fries, drink, and a sundae. No time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. Right now at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us. And the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
You know, I'm going to get myself in trouble, but
Anytime somebody says I'm going to get myself in trouble, but I can't help myself but to think of Ed Young, my co-host, because it's something he often says, whether it's on this program, other programs, platforms, places, things. And it is now time for our 10-minute. We didn't have 5 today. We expanded this to 10-minute burning topic here on 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe, and interact with us because this is too good. This is too much. This is too rich. Oh, it's like rich chocolate that just melts in your mouth to have only 5 minutes for it. So let's go back to what Michigan State hoops coach Tom Izzo was going to say about the G League and players in college basketball. We stopped it. We won't stop it now. You'll get the entire 4 minutes and 7 seconds, and then my partner in crime's reaction to what he had to say.
you know, I'm going to get myself in trouble, but I listen to people talk of how kids changed. kids aren't the problem. We're the problem. This was sprung on us again yesterday, where a guy can be in the G League for 2 or 3 years, and then all of a sudden he's eligible. Most of my people knew nothing about it. I don't think our commissioner. I mean, I am not real excited about the NCAA or whoever's making these decisions without talking to us, just letting it go because they're afraid they're going to get sued. So you're right. I said that this really bothers your coach if you're Michigan State fans, but if you want a silver lining in a cloud, I am going to call Magic tonight. I'm going to call Jaren Jackson, Miles, Gary, Max. You know, this just goes to show you how ridiculous people that are in power make decisions. I mean, you know, and I'm going to get killed because someone's going to say, well, if they go pro, it doesn't work out, shouldn't they be able to come back? Well, what about the freshman you recruited there? That's somebody's son. And he thinks he's got himself a good place, and all of a sudden, shazam, they pull out of their hat and bring a 21 or 22-year-old in. To me, it's ridiculous. To me, it's embarrassing. And I love my job. I don't respect my profession, and I don't respect who's ever doing that. Whoever made those decisions, because they're afraid that a lawyer's going to sue them, sooner or later you got to fight the fight. And you know, if we would have been aware of it, if somebody would have talked to us, maybe it's me, maybe I'm the dummy, but I'll never agree to that stuff. I think we're really hurting the freshmen in high school. I mean, the seniors in high school, giving them a chance, and we're just gonna, what's the age limit now? Is it 30? You know, if you have 3 beards and 2 mustaches, are you illegal? You're not allowed to play? I mean, what is it gonna be? And so, yeah, you hit a sore spot for me because the transfer portal is enough. You know, we have no rules. And now we just taken no rules and add some more no rules. And if everybody likes that, that's good. And I feel bad if a kid came out early. Maybe we shouldn't come out early. Maybe we should do a better job of helping kids make decisions, said decisions they make, and then, oh boy, I made a bad decision, so I'll go back. But the unintended consequences are the kids that are there will now get screwed and not have an opportunity. And then they'll be transferring, and then we'll have this circle. So I do not know everything about it. I cannot believe that this was sprung on us yesterday. And if it was done earlier and I didn't know about it, shame on me. But my compliance officer didn't know. There are people in this league didn't know. The NCAA's got to regroup. They got to regroup. That's my opinion. Only my opinion. So don't be mad at anybody else. Be mad at us. But I'm not going to be mad at the players. I'm going to be mad at the adults in the room. And so don't blame the players anymore. Blame the adults that make the decisions that allow some of these ridiculous things to happen. And then the unintended consequences hurt kids that are trying to do it the right way with a process, not jumping around. And that's my 2 cents. So put that wherever you want it.
Put that wherever you want it. Shazam! 3 beards and 2 mustaches. He said a lot there. Tom Izzo, the longtime head coach, is spotty about G League dudes in college basketball. It's ruffled the feathers of him, his colleagues like Rick Pitino, Ricky P at St. John's. College hoop season getting ready to start. I know people are all into college football right now with Ole Miss and Oklahoma and what's happening in the SEC and the Big Ten and the playoff, and UVA winning a thrilling game in overtime, hanging on by a thread against Chapel Bill Belichick and the Tar Heels as they stay in the top 25 in the hunt for an ACC championship game in the college football playoff. But Edward, it's time for you to have the floor because college basketball has a problem on its hands, and I'm sure you and Mr. Izzo are all irate among others.
No, it's not just college basketball. I really don't want to do this rant because I've done it before.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
It's not, you know, Izzo jumped around worse than I do sometimes, and he's not known that. But you can tell it bothers him a lot. The statement that got me when he said, I love my job, and he's very passionate with his kids, but he hates the profession. And I can almost echo that same thing. Now, we don't quite have on a high school level the issue he has, but it's still an issue. And he said about kids changing. No, they haven't. It's we allowed the changes. I agree 100% with that. People say, oh, you got to be careful. You're an old relic. You can't coach like you did 20, 30 years ago. Kids don't respond to that. Why not? If discipline is still a big part of winning. If you're not disciplined, you're not going to win. You're not disciplined in life, you're not going to win.
Well, let me stop you for a second, too, by the way. Just for those that have no context of what he's talking about. There was a player from the G League that made a college commitment to become eligible to play in the 26-27, that's next year's season. And London Johnson is that 21-year-old who spent the last 3 seasons, not 1 or 2, 3, to be eligible to commit to Louisville this past week. And it's got Izzo and many others irate, just absolutely beside themselves. So it is hard to comprehend and wrap your brain around a little bit. And it is something that I'm sure will not be the first or last instance that draws the ire of longtime coaches like yourself and one Tommy Izzo.
Again, NCAA toothless. Another thing I agree with Izzo. Well, we could get sued, so we're going to put this rule in. Well, get sued. Go to court. You got enough lawyers and fight it. You have your rules. Any organization have rules. You can't follow rules. You can't play in there. Go back to the days where you can transfer, but you sit out a year. Well, regular students go jump around the schools. They don't. What the heck are they sitting out for? They're just a student. They're not playing a sport. Okay. We're allowed. Well, kids should have choices. That's the problem. Young kids make bad decisions. It's been the history of kids. We all been through it. You make dumb decisions when you're younger. Well, they're supposed to go through life making their own decisions. We can't do things for them. So if a kid decides, I think I can cross the street at cars going 75 miles an hour, I want to try it. Well, go ahead. That was your decision. Go ahead. It's ridiculous.
Not a good decision.
No, you have he's a pro. And back in the day, once you declare pro, not even play pro, but once you declare pro, you're done. Your eligibility's finished. You move on. That's
well, you heard or saw what Patino said. He says, if we're going to get G League guys, he says, I want first pick at the NBA guys next. Give me Giannis. I want Antetokounmpo.
Exactly. You've got to have more. We got to have to go back to the rule. I'm not saying, and anytime money's involved, and it is, you have issues. And ever since we started doing NILs and paying players and this and that, we have all kind of issues. I'm not against paying players. I've said it for years that players should get more than just a free tuition. I've always said that. But it's so out of hand now. And everybody knows it's out of hand, including and another decision I love when him saying he has no respect for some of the decision makers. And this is what I've echoed at all levels. You have people making decisions that have no business making the damn decisions they're making because they're wrong. They don't consult the right people, normally the coaches. And that's at any level. And I'll go to my grave with that one. And it needs to be restructured. How about the junior college rule? We all understand when you go to junior college, you play your freshman and sophomore year in college because you need some academic work. You need some skill work in the sport you have. Then you get to go finish your third and fourth year at a school. Yeah. Well, the court said, why are we doing this? They should go to JUCO if they want, but they should still have 4 years at their regular school. And everybody said, okay. So now you can play 6 years. A kid who's a JUCO kid can go play 6. He can have a bigger college career than he can have an NBA or an NFL career. 6 years. And it's probably going to see the guy playing 7. Okay, here's the problem in all of this. Nobody addresses the academic side of it. What the hell does a kid go to college for? I would think you're trying to get your degree. Now, if you can make $1 million as an incoming freshman, what the hell are you doing in college? You ain't no job you're going to find for 4 or 5 years in college that's going to pay you $1 million in your first year in that job. So again, I'd say this, which nobody has said. Why the hell are we giving these kids free tuition, free books, whatever? And they're getting their salaries $2 million a year from the school. Make them pay their own way through school. Take that money and put it in a fund for kids coming out of high school who are academically inclined but can't go to school because of financial situations in the family. Give those kids the free tuition, books, because they deserve to be in school because they're in school for the right reason. If you're going to go to school because I'm going to the NFL, I'm going to the NBA, which the NBA and the NFL use the colleges as their minor league. The G League is nice, but it's not a main pusher for players to get into the NBA. It's the colleges. And they don't have to worry about having their own structure like Major League Baseball does. So stop putting kids in college who are basically there for athletic reason and calling them student athletes. I always say this. They can go to college. They don't need to go to class. Okay? You're there as an employee of the school. You're on the football team. You're on whatever. You're going to get paid a salary, blah, blah, blah. That's how it is. Make them sign a contract. If they transfer, give us a buyout. You're going to have to owe us X amount of money. You break the contract. We're getting you ready for the real world. And if you don't have a pro career, well, if you didn't save your money in the college level, too bad for you. You should have made a better decision. So that's the way I look at it, too. I agree with Tom Izzo almost 100%. It's we allowed the situation to occur as it is now. Kids have not changed. We have allowed the change. Back in the day, and I know people say, old man, stop talking about back in the day. You had kids that were fearful to make mistakes at home. Parents would knock them on their backside. They were fearful to make mistakes or open their mouth at teachers in school because not only would they get it in school, they're going to get it when they get back home too. All of that's gone. And that's why you have kids running amok because we allow them to do whatever. All they have to explore their opportunities in life. You know, COVID, we talk about what COVID did to the world. One of the things I'd say it did is it made kids extremely soft because we're so worried about their mental health now. So we weren't worried about mental health before. Mental health should have been, as well as physical health, should have always been important. Why did COVID have to bring it out now that we got to worry about their mental health? Kids, especially the high school level, aren't ready to make a lot of decisions on their own. And when they make bad decisions, there has to be consequences to make them understand, well, you made a decision, but it's a wrong one. And now here's the price you pay. A lot of kids make bad decisions. They don't want to pay the price. It's not how the world works. You walk into a bank, you stick a gun up and say, I'm taking the money. You take the money, you turn around, walk out the door, and wait a minute. Let me walk back in there. Hey, I made a mistake, y'all. I'm sorry. Here's the money. I don't mean to rob the bank. Okay, don't do that again. No, that's not what we say to them. They're going to jail. And this is what kids need to understand. I don't care how young they are, because I always get told that. Well, Coach, you have to understand these are younger kids. These aren't adults. You have to allow for mistakes. Okay, now you open the door for allowing for mistakes. They're going to keep making mistakes. Okay, you work with kids. You talk with kids. Try to understand where they're coming from too, but they're not old enough to make adult decisions, but they are old enough to have consequences in their decision making. And a lot of parents have no business being parents because they don't know how to discipline or parent their kid. That's another problem that we have, especially at the younger levels. So I agree with Izzo. Yeah, it fires me up that we got kids in school 6, 7, 8 years. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing because sometimes in the past, because of financial reasons at home or whatever, because money is always the root of all situations, that they had to drop out of school for a year or two because they didn't have the money. So it needs to be fixed. I don't think it'll ever be fixed because money's involved and we've lost all. And Izzo's right. It's pretty much a free go for it all, whatever you can do, however you can get players in there, whatever. And then you can always say, I didn't know the rules. Oh, what was the rule? How can a compliance officer not know the NCAA rules? That means it's really crazy. And the idea of courts running the system. So let's just put all college sports under the guidelines of the courts. And NCAA, we don't need you around anymore. Let the courts decide what is legal and not legal. I went over my time. It bothers me like crazy. I'm tired of hearing that kids are different. No, they're not. It's adults different. And then you've got people in power positions at every level have no business being a power position because they're making whimsical decisions that don't really affect them. And that's the problem.
The views and opinions expressed by one coach, Edward Vincent Young, do not necessarily reflect those beliefs of Cova Sports TV and its associated partners. And at this time, we will now take a break.
And we'll now exhale. Breathe in, breathe out.
I'm good, man. I'm ready to do the NFL picks, baby. I'm set.
I don't know if you're ready to do the NFL picks. You said I'm not going to do this rant, and then you went for 20-something minutes. It felt like maybe it's only about 8 or 9. I got to go back and look and see because I am fascinated to see how long that truly was.
The one thing I will always say, I'm passionate about my job.
You can say
I'm passionate about my kids.
I have spaced out during some of that.
And I'm not ready for stupidity by others that affect my job, like in my last situation. So therefore, I'm going to speak. I ain't got many years left. So as well as I got breath to breathe, I'm going to express my opinion, whether it's important or not. And if they don't like it, Bobby Knight had a great saying that I won't say here on the air.
Woo! We've got, is it week 8 or is that wrong? Week 8, yeah. It's hard to believe we're almost halfway through the season coming up with yours truly, the coach, and Bruce Pearl, who is the leader in the clubhouse at 12-9. I'm sitting at 10-11, and Ed, after his 1-2 week, is bringing up the rear in the basement at 8-13.
That's another rant.
He's in the basement. You see me, I got the piano, the coffee table, the fireplace.
That's another rant. Jeff Jones said it best. Hey, Hatfield, go back there and play me some tunes, huh? Let me see what you can do. Jeff Jones said it perfect.
Like I told you before, I will do that when I have the opportunity to do that. I will do that. It's just a matter of time. So anyhow, NFL picks are next. By the way, you got people watching. We mentioned Smithfield Athletics. One of your former players, by the way, I see he's watching on Instagram. I almost shot him out now. I see Hollywood_XI. Shannon Evans is watching us.
One of the all-time best.
Shannon, if you're watching, Coach stinks at this game. He cannot beat me. He has next to no chance whatsoever. And Shannon's playing, I'm sure, playing pro ball somewhere overseas. We have to get him on one of these particular Saturdays. But anyhow, we've got more coming your way, including the pro picks to close out this extended afternoon episode of 757 Sports Talk. And you watch with us on Cova Sports TV.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why parents count on CHKD Sports Medicine, advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries just for young athletes like yours. With convenient locations across Hampton Roads and a whole team of experts here to keep your favorite player at the top of their game. CHKD Sports Medicine. Learn more at chkd.org or call the CHKD Sports Injury Hotline.
Cova Painting. We don't just paint, we transform spaces. Visit covapainting.com or call 757-550-7357 and mention the Sportsplex for 10% off of projects over $1,000.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever! The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Bacon cheeseburger for a limited time, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. Yeah, this is not the time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. And there's bacon on that burger. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Now, for a limited time on the $7 meal deal lineup. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
What does happiness mean to you?
Being in the ocean with you, watching you catch super fun waves.
In Virginia Beach, happiness is breaking barriers and savoring the sunshine.
I couldn't pick a better place or a better person to be with. This is what makes me happy.
Happiness is going all out.
And taking it all in.
Here, happiness is whatever you make it. Find yours in Virginia Beach.
I grew up here. I know this town. I know the people here. More important, they know me. As a banker at Town Bank, we become part of the communities we serve. The people who bank with us, our members, know us. When you bank with Town Bank, you'll know your banker. You'll know you can reach us, and you'll know we're here for you.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk.
Usually it's Hatfield. That's why I try to tell everybody, get on Hatfield. He is the legal scribe, the talking head that knows all this, puts the whammies on. We do things different on this podcast. That's why we're rated number 3 in the state.
You got Play-Doh? Get out of here!
We got people all over the globe watching with us. Sitting in a phone booth with you would be very...
we got to have your own phone booth. I'm not sitting in no phone booth with you.
It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And we're back here on 757 Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe to Cova Sports TV and interact with us wherever you are tuning in. He did give us – see, I can't put the IG comments on it. He said, hope all is well, my guys, with a little love emoji. We appreciate that, Shannon, who's watching on IG. But it is time now to do the NFL picks. And you sent me this. What is this wrestling book you're reading? What the heck is that?
This, first
Hall
of all,
of Fame of the heels. What in the earth? That guy's like twisting the dude's head.
Yeah,
What
this
in
is
the
what I
world?
would love to do to Hatfield.
No.
This is Dick the Bulldog Brower and
Who?
Carlos Colon. Yes.
Dick
Both
the
are
Bulldog Brower and Carlos Colon.
top.
Never heard
Dick
of any
the
of them.
Bulldog Brower had the greatest facial expressions in pro wrestling history.
You can read
Carlos
that book.
Cologne was a guy that ran the promotion down in Puerto Rico, one of the most successful promotions in professional wrestling. So they had a battle here, and Bulldog is trying to twist his head off. Would be good to see Young and Hatfield in that kind of a move. It's a book I'm just started reading, The Hills. I can't put it down. It's some of my old-time wrestlers in there, like George Animal Steel, guy you're familiar with. Some really good stuff in there. And my all-time favorite, Abdullah the Butcher.
The Butcher. Well, I'm reading this book, the Hampton Roads Football Encyclopedia by Lynn Burke, who was on earlier. If you missed that segment, go back and watch it on our Cova Sports TV YouTube channel. But it's time now to do the NFL picks in the league where they do play for pay, even though it's pretty much everywhere now they're playing for pay. And Bruce will go first since he was 2-1 last week. Like me, I won on KC minus 12.5, 31 donut shutout of your Raiders. New England minus 6.5 was also a good play for me. Good pick for me. 31-13. They cruised against Tennessee. Mike Vrabel against his old team. And the Chargers minus 1.5 was a bad, lousy choice. The Colts went to L.A. and beat them, although the Chargers regrouped and won Thursday night, beating Minnesota 37-10. And just an absolute romp. Bruce won with the Cardinals plus 6.5. He also won with Indianapolis plus the 1.5 against the Chargers. So we had a little checker on a checker there. My Cardinals lost by 4 to Green Bay, 27-23. Lost on Jets plus 1.5. And as we put up earlier, and you'll see scrolling across the ticker in a moment, no Tyrod Taylor. It'll be Justin Fields. New York falling to 0-7 with a 13-6 loss to Carolina. You lost on Denver minus 7. They won a crazy comeback game against the Giants, 33-32. Loss on the Packers minus 6.5. And the Bears won for you minus the 4.5, 26-14 triumph over the Saints. So what does Bruce have for this week on the choices? He's the guy to go with. I mean, he's working it for the Mustangs, and he's hitting NFL winners too. His selections for this week are Carolina plus 7.5 at home with Andy Dalton, the redhead, against Buffalo, fresh off the bye. Tampa Bay laying the 4.5. I like that one a lot. I'd hate to steal it from him and copycat. They're playing at the 1-6 Saints. And San Francisco. There's a missing C in that. There we go. We got the C now fixed. San Francisco plus the 2.5. Niners trying to stay atop the NFC West. They're going to be 5-2 at the Texans, 2-4. So, as you look at this, you got to go after I go. I got my first choice all ready to go here. And I'm going to surprise you with it because I know Lamar Jackson
is not going to go. But I really like Baltimore in this spot against the Chicago Bears. Their season is on the line. And I know Tyler Huntley is not trustworthy whatsoever without Lamar in this game coming up. But the new line, since it was announced today that Lamar Jackson is not going to play in this game, it has shifted considerably from Ravens big favorite to only -1.5 right now at home. So I'm going to take it. I like the Ravens to get the job done and get back in the win column. Reason being, they return a lot of guys. Tackle, linebackers, fullback. I think it'll be enough. So give me Baltimore for play numero uno. You're up.
Well, seeing that Bruce took 2 of my picks, I have to scan.
Well, you can copy one of them. You just can't copy 2 of them. You have the ability to copy 1, but not 2.
I'm going to go. I don't really want to copy him because then when I win, you'll say you only won because you picked Bruce's pick. So
correct.
I'm going to go Atlanta -7 over the Dolphins.
By the way, folks, that was his way of trying to get sympathy out of me. He's not getting any sympathy out of me.
No, it's not sympathy. I just know how you are.
And by the way, going back to my pick real quick, the Bears have placed corner Kyler Gordon and left tackle Braxton Jones now on injured reserve. So they'll be without each of those guys for the next 4 games. You're going with Atlanta, huh? You like the Falcons.
Yeah, I'm going with them. Not sure who's quarterbacking them this time. Is it Penix is hurt? They not play.
Captain Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix, pretty good tandem, but they don't have to throw the ball. They got Bijan Robinson playing that Miami Dolphins defense, which is just El Stinko. So you're going Atlanta -7. I like that choice by you. And Mike McDaniel's his final days, I should say, as coach.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's not gone by now because
I think a lot of people are. I think Mike McDaniel is numbered at this point. His days.
Yeah, the heat he's taking in Miami. I hate to see it, but he's taking heat.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to go against Bruce. I'm going to go Bills -7.
Really? Well, as someone who has taken the Bills on multiple occasions and been let down by them, I wish you luck on this because I have no idea when they're going to perform like they're capable of. They've not played well this year, 4-2. And they had the Chiefs lurking next week. This is a classic look-ahead spot, although they are coming off the bye, so they should be well-rested.
And it's away, though I don't think away means as much as in pro as it does college. But I'm going to go with that. It's a feeling. I thought the Bills were a Super Bowl-bound team. They're not automatics right now. I think Kansas City has picked that distinction back up. And, of course, with the Ravens, with Jackson out winning 1 game, you hate to say it, but it probably is a must-win for them this week.
Okay. Giants and Eagles played not too long ago. That game is certainly on my radar screen, but it's not one that I'm probably going to take here. As I look at the landscape, Colts too big of a favorite in terms of the number of points that they're given. KC was great last week, and there's no Jane Daniels for the Commanders, who could find their way to a backdoor cover. At 11.5, it's too much. If it was 9.5, I'd give it more of a consideration or a thought. As we look at the choices out there, it's sort of slim pickings, to be honest with you. Not a lot of great games out there to take. But I'm going to take a flyer on one, and it's one I could very well regret. I think the odds makers know something we don't, and it's how beat up San Francisco is. They're a 2.5-point dog at Houston, who has quietly played better football. I know they're coming off the Monday night game, which they lost to Seattle. But with that in mind, I'm going to take the Houston Texans, not the Niners. Give me them minus the 2.5 against San Francisco. I just think San Francisco's had too much uncertainty with the injuries, and I don't love where they're sitting. And for my final choice, I like this one a lot. I am going to copy Bruce, and I don't usually do this, but I am going to take Tampa Bay, laying the 4.5 against New Orleans. I don't see the Bucs losing 2. And I know Mike Evans with the injury again hurt, but you seen what Emeka Egbuka has done for Baker Mayfield. That Bucs defense also, I think, quietly will play pretty well in this spot, better than they did against the Lions on Monday night. So give me Tampa -4.5, Houston -2.5, and Baltimore -1.5. 3 favorites. A very scary move in today's NFL for the picks. What's your final one to go with? A couple of your heavy favorites of Falcons -7 and Bills laying 7.5.
I'm going to take a walk on the over-under side. And I'm going to look at the game you picked, 49ers-Texans. I think we can get to 42 points.
You do? Like over 41.5. Okay.
Yeah, I think we can. I'm going to go over.
All right. I don't know who's going to produce those points for you, but best of luck to you on that. And that's going to close out this episode, this 3-hour-plus edition of 757 Sports Talk in the afternoon with the coach, Ed Young. We thank our guests, which have included the likes of Gene Jones Jr. of Hampton, Marcus Chapman of the Crabbers, Lynn Burke, the historian extraordinaire, now with his new book of the Hampton Roads Football Encyclopedia, Dyrri McCain, Maury football coach, his sound. And we can't leave out your pal Tommy Izzo from Michigan State, who you ranted after he did for several minutes there. He is the coach, Ed Young. I am Matt Hatfield. Cavaliers won in overtime, Ed. 17-16 as Bill Belichick takes another L. And we will talk to all of you next week. And guess what? Next week it'll be November. Halloween will be in the rearview mirror. And Ed can focus on a holiday he likes much more, and that's Thanksgiving, where he feasts on food.
One of the best holidays.
Feasts on food. So we'll talk to you all then. Have a great rest of your weekend and week. See you later. Thanks for watching 757 Sports Talk.